Whispers in the window are angry waves. Way ho the sea of souls. Down to the mists as the ocean slaves. Way ho the sea of souls. Way ho the sea of souls. Way ho the sea of souls. Hoist the sails round the eddies and shoals. Hey ho, it's the sea of souls. Now drop the anchor and grab some grog. Way ho, the sea of souls. We'll make a new entry in the captain's log. Way ho, the sea of souls. Hey ho, the sea of souls. Way ho, the sea of souls. Hoist the sails round the eddies and shoals. Hey ho, it's the sea of souls. Oh, way ho, the sea of souls. Way ho, the sea of souls. Hoist the sails round the eddies and shoals. Hey ho, it's the sea of souls. Hey ho, it's the sea of souls. Sea of souls. Whispers in the window are angry waves. Way ho, the sea of souls. Down to the mists as the ocean slaves. Way ho, the sea of souls. Way ho, the sea of souls. Way ho, the sea of souls. Hoist the sails round the eddies and shoals. Hey ho, it's the sea of souls. Now drop the anchor and grab some grog. Way ho, the sea of souls. We'll make a new entry in the captain's log. Way ho, the sea of souls. Hey ho, the sea of souls. Way ho, the sea of souls. Hoist the sails round the eddies and shoals. Hey ho, it's the sea of souls. Oh, way ho, the sea of souls. Way ho, the sea of souls. Hoist the sails round the eddies and shoals. Hey ho, it's the sea of souls. Hey ho, it's the sea of souls. Sea of souls.
Ahoy, every peoples, and welcome to Sea of Souls, our live stream D&D game brought to you by the Elderbrain cast, which is us. I'm Lord Pundy, or Craig. You know the above.
Wait, when did you become a lord?
Yeah.
I actually have a plot of land in Scotland now.
Hey.
So do I.
That I am a lord of. So,
oh my god, you guys are neighbors!
Totally. So, yeah, I can officially call myself a lord. I got the certificate and everything. It's amazing, right? I mean, it's Your Majesty also works as well. If that's
when the borders open up, we
sure.
should go there and put a Lego castle on our plots.
Totally. Let's do that.
Cheapest housing.
But yes, I am Pundy. I am your DM, and with me, as always, I have Mike, Devin, Jack, and Ian, who are our crew of 4 seasoned adventurers.
I'm lightly salted.
Lightly salted, salty, definitely.
Hello.
No, you're heavily salted because you spend time underwater, so you're probably the saltiest of the bunch. From a literal.
I don't know. The word salty means something
standpoint.
really different in 2021, though. Because Jack is not an angry person.
It really does. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you never see me when my printer breaks.
that's anybody. Let's be fair. Okay, like that's anybody.
I'm sorry. Doesn't everybody own the printer gun?
Yeah, right. I have a sword.
The printer sword. Yeah, that also works.
Yeah, or a sledgehammer.
I have a printer bat.
Some sort of implement.
Yeah,
the bat. Yeah, sling probably wouldn't work well in this. I mean, it might actually if you have a decent sized rock to throw at your printer. Okay, well, anyways, all right, we've already got one random tangent out of the way for the evening, so that's I don't know if that's a new record, but that was an early one. That was good.
Should have cold open.
Cold open, that's right. Yeah.
I mean,
thanks for hanging out with us.
It's an unedited actual play, so I think people are expecting, a certain amount of just bullshittery.
It's true. Yeah, this is live. We are not scripted. If you want proof, because anybody who could write that as a script I want to hire them. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with us as we play some Dungeons and Dragons. If you haven't joined us before, thanks for joining us now. If you're watching us live on Twitch, thank you. And if you're not following us yet on Twitch, please do follow us. We are really hoping to get those numbers up so we can get affiliate status, woohoo! And then we can start doing subscriptions and all kinds of fun stuff. But make sure you follow us on the Twitter, on the Podbean, on the YouTubes as well. All the social media things which you can find at our link tree. And you can find the link up above there. So check that out. And if you've been with us for a while, then thanks for hanging out with us and putting up with us. Yeah, and we're sorry, but also
don't oversell us now, Craig.
I'm not. I mean, we're amazing. We're the best. Like, awesome. We're.
I'll never apologize.
Mm-hmm. I apologize in advance for that. True Canadians, right here. Here we go. All right. Let's begin with our wrap up of last session and where our adventures are at this point. So, having been hired by Ship Boone, one of the pirate ships of Porto de Arias, sailing aboard a little ketch, a salvage ship, more or less, sailing around the islands of the Port of Sands. To try and find an ancient dwarven ruin. Our adventurers aboard the Stormcaller have found a few spots, different locations below the sea, marked off on a map handed to them. And after finding things other than ruins at a few places, including some terrors from the deep, they seem to have stumbled upon something as they've rounded the east side of the island and have found and some corals and some caves below some cliffs, a large cave opening, and buried in the sand at the entrance, what appears to be the crenellations of an old dwarven fortress. And so as they ponder what this might mean and look into the deep cave ahead of them, wondering if they have found their prize, that's where we pick it up. Gentlemen, you have descended from the Stormcaller. Three of you under Dinar's water-breathing spell, the fourth being able to breathe water all on his own, being a turtle.
Show off.
And standing in a little bit of light sediment and sand on the bottom with some beautiful fish, lots of colorful life around you in the reef swimming here and there, and this vast opening in front of you. You can see now in the sand that this Dinar, what you've definitely recognized as being of dwarven stonework from your time spent with the Gungrim dwarves. It's not a buried structure so much as it is part of something that is broken off and seems to be lying here, somewhat buried in the sand, but you can see where it's not entirely full and it's kind of at an odd angle. This isn't something that's just sitting, that's been covered, by centuries of sediment, but something that's ended up here, possibly. And so with this mystery at your feet, gentlemen, game's yours.
Now above game, because I know that we're about to go into this thing anyway, but did the job actually require us to go in or just report back?
So the job was to discover it, to find the location. There was nothing indicating actually entering. However, there was nothing specifically forbidding you. It was kind of hinted at to not go, this wasn't an exploration in the ruins sort of thing, just to find it and report back.
Okay.
So interpret it as you will.
Well, in character, Torque would definitely feel like finding it is, mission accomplished, time to go report back, but he also respects the ship hierarchy and will probably defer to Dinar's decision. Also, because they're underwater and they can't really formally talk, so he's just going to kind of follow Dinar's lead on this.
And Dinar is trying to formulate in his head how he's going to convey to the group what he's thinking.
I mean, have we determined? Is this the only? We know that there's only one set of ruins.
There's one specific
or do we
set
have
of
to
ruins, I think
that we're looking for? But
Yeah.
do we know if this is it, or if this is just some other unrelated ruins?
This is my thinking. We got to confirm that this is the real deal.
And
Based on the information that you were given by Shipboon, so along with the map you were given and sort of the lowdown, there is a very specific stronghold that they're looking for. But there was nothing that ever stated that there wouldn't be any other ruins in the area. Given the history of the world, I think even the four of you, regardless of how much you know about specific history, knowing enough that the world has been through calamity after calamity and has been reshaped many times, the world that you're in now being the result of the deluge, the world-changing flood that happened about 1,000 years ago, it'd be safe to say that there's probably ruins pocketed all over the place. So I just say I give you that as people who are kind of general adventurers. It's likely that you'd find ruins and wouldn't be like, that's definitely it. It could be one of hundreds of ruins, thousands scattered all over the place. So
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're checking it out anyway, so
Yeah.
I kind of figured we'd be going in anyway.
it's good to have context. But we're doing it regardless.
Yeah.
this is where the players say, we don't want to do that, and the DM goes, oh, crap, okay, let me get different. Hold on.
What is this?
I mean,
some kind of dungeon?
we've all had that one party where you throw the hook at them and they're just like, "Yeah, we're gonna go do that," and then you throw
Go to the tavern.
You move the hook and they're like, "No, we're gonna go do that," and then you move the
I'm
hook
gonna
and
go
it's,
to the tavern
"Oh,
and
we're
get
gonna go do
drunk."
that. Yeah, basically. You're like, guys.
Roll to see if I'm getting drunk.
So just
All
in case anybody wonders, if at some point I underperformed during any potential combat, just know that that's because I had Skywrite instead of something good.
I mean, it worked
that
out
is right
for
with you,
us
Skyrim.
last session.
Because I'm not a wizard, so I can't just ritually cast whatever spells I know. I have to have them prepared.
Not every spell. Just most of them. Just the good, useful ones.
Wizards are just so good.
I mean, yes, we are. All right.
It's not called Druids of the Coast.
Oh!
You wait till I know Tsunami. All right.
So, I mean, to make it obvious for the group, Dinar will kind of make a motion with his hands, like forward, and then he's going to point to his two eyes, and then point down to his open palm.
So far, we don't see any giant monsters.
We need to get eyes on whatever this is, because we saw this from the surface. Whoever else was doing the scouting likely saw this as well. So we need to see more.
I'm gonna look over at Flick and be like,
Torque will unholster his maul and go on ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
I need to invest in like a harpoon gun or something.
That'd be fun.
As you kind of trudge through the sediments, the first thing you realize is that it is very, very loose here, which often tends to be the case in areas like this with coral and somewhere where you can see a lot of play of currents and tides that kind of shift the sands in this area. rather frequently. And so kind of every lumbering step you take, even though you have a swim speed, but being a big creature that you are, as you kind of step through a sediment, it kicks up a pretty decent cloud that kind of starts to just hover.
I like to think
off the seafloor around you.
I like to think rather than like literally swimming, Torque is just kind of bounding along the floor like an astronaut on the moon. You know, just
one small step for turtles. Totally. So with each leap, yeah, it's like a little bit of sediment kind of just puffs up each time, and it is starting to cloud the water a little bit around you, but not enough. I mean, it's a wide enough open space that you're in that it doesn't really obscure you too heavily. As you approach this large cave ahead of you, getting a little bit of a better view as you get closer, and you can see now kind of in and underneath the roof of this cavern, which was obscured when you were above it. This initial kind of area in front of you is vast. We're talking probably a couple hundred feet across, and it seems to go in beyond what you can even see the water. The light carries in a little bit, kind of filtered through the water, and it gets to a point kind of in the cave where, you know, you can just kind of see that shimmer in the water where the light kind of stops, and it's, you know, dark beyond that. Like you could fit a ship in here. This is a huge cave.
Are the walls and floor natural, or is it still hewn stone?
Give me a perception check.
Alright. Perception. Blam. Hey, big old 22.
Nice. 22, nice. From what you can tell, this cavern itself appears to be natural. The far walls, even kind of the lip of the mouth, you're moving in. There's coral, and like almost kind of like limestone, where there's like pocketed, you know, pockmarks kind of all over it. But it does all seem to be natural. No, you know, rigid, even shapes. Everything's just kind of smoothed by the passage of water, and there's coral and algae and stuff kind of all over the place. Very, very full of life. A little bit in, though, you can see rising up out of the sand what appears to be more of a kind of rectangular or square-ish shape. It's hard to make out from this distance exactly what it is, but it definitely appears to be more something constructed rather than natural. And it itself seems to be about 50 to 60 feet across, and it's about 100 feet in. So just kind of at the edge of the light, there's something unnatural.
All right, I will use a minor illusion to get my sonar ping just to get everyone's attention, and I will point them at that.
Okay.
Start swimming towards it.
Okay. Now, I believe only Torque has a swim speed, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Right. So the rest of you then are moving at half speed.
Fair enough.
And you said there's lots of like colorful corals and stuff around?
All over the place.
Awesome.
It is the barrier reef in its prime. Like it is just.
Blake is grabbing the most brightly colored ones, popping in his mouth, crunch, 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 as we're walking.
Awesome. They taste salty.
It just tastes like a mouthful of seawater.
Probably. You know, what else are you gonna do?
Yes, but this is the goblin who eats, you know, rotted strawberries.
I was going to say, this is reasonably tame for Flick's normal appetite.
It's true. As you enter into this cavern and leave the kind of outer seabed behind you, there's a calm and a quiet in here. You can see at the very top the water that's kind of affected by the currents near the surface moving ever so slightly, just kind of back and forth. You can see some of the sediment kind of shifting around in the light as various currents play with it. A couple of schools of brightly colored fish pass by here and there. There aren't any signs that you can see of large predators, of this being the home of anything big. In fact, it seems to be almost like a sanctuary with all these different types of fish in here and life in abundance. You can see crabs moving about here and there on the floor. It's just full of life. And as you get closer now, you can see on this rectangular structure, this thing, whatever it is, sticking out of the ground, you can definitely make out stone, like worked stone. This is made of something of like stones fit together precisely. Most of it is buried in the sand, but the sand kind of rises up a little bit. And just like the very, very top of it seems to be sticking out of the sand, but some stands kind of still, mounding here and there on it. Dinar, go ahead and give me a history check.
Okay. Trained in history. Let's see what dice is going to screw me over tonight. This one. Yep. That's 2.
Why'd you roll it?
That's
Plus
you
my 7. So that's a 9.
9. Okay. You already have an idea that it's Dwarven. You're trying to think of like, what would this be? What would the purpose of it be? The size. And it's kind of escaping at the moment. You feel like there's something there, but you're like, I got nothing.
Since the sediment is relatively loose, I think as the realization that there's something here that maybe revealing a little bit more of it might help. So Dinar's going to try to, using his hands and his tail, his feet, try to shoo away some of the sediment if he can, clear off this stone piece.
Okay. What are the rest of you doing? So again, this is like, it's like 60 feet across, and now that you're up to, you can see it goes 60 feet back. So this is a square, 60 feet by 60 feet. It appears to be pretty flat from what you can see. There are spots where this, like the sand is like mounded over, but it's like a perfectly flat surface.
I think, Torque will assist with the just clearing the silt away.
Yeah, I think I'm going to see if I can find the center or a good spot where I would expect a door or like a hatch or something to be. Yeah.
Okay. We'll call that an investigation check.
Sure.
Yeah, is there like we're just basically looking around, right? Like we're seeing these different things. It's still reasonably well lit.
Where you're now, you're just at kind of the edge of the light. So it's bright light verging on dim. It's enough that you can see where you're at right now without any extra sources of light. But
Okay.
it's not like, you're not like looking under a lantern and like, I see everything. It's yeah.
Ooh, hey.
Wow,
My dice are
natural
hot
20.
tonight.
Nice.
Nice.
So that's a 21 on my investigation for the nat 20.
Perfect. Dinar and Torque, if I get you guys to make athletics checks, or one of you can make it with advantage. As you're just digging at the sand and trying to like get it
How
out.
you want to do this, Captain?
Well, you must have a higher strength than Dinar, so why don't we give you an athletics advantage?
Okie dokie.
Tell you what, while they're all doing that, I'm gonna keep an eye out for any threats. I really don't need another shark to come and get me.
Okay.
Ooh, 26
26. Okay.
on a nat 19.
All right. So Taylor, give me a perception check then as you're on the lookout.
Certainly.
So
Oh God.
the walking dragon and the giant turtle with their claws make quick work of the sand, just like scooping it and digging it and like just raking through it. They don't have these like weak little fingers to have to worry about. So they're just scraping through and digging off enough that you can kind of see probably about a foot down around the edge now. And Dinar, you instantly do recognize the work of Dwarven craftsmanship. As you can see, there's sort of like a banner. I can't think of the word for right now. That's like lining the whole thing. That's been carved in really intricate, Dwarven filigree. You can see even some Dwarven runes kind of mixed in here and there, some Dwarven symbolism, and it's just like it is beautiful. The craftsmanship is impeccable. It's probably like the top of like the best you've ever seen. And it appears to be remarkably well preserved. You don't really seem, there isn't much damage. There's no cracks or chips or big chunks kind of taken out of it. But it does seem to have wear from erosion, just from water, and even it's like almost like sand being blasted against it, moving across it. So there is that little bit of kind of wear on it. As they're digging away, inevitably kind of moving some of the sand off of the top as well. Flick, as you kind of look about, you find your way towards sort of the center. What's about a 20-foot by 20-foot area, and there's a large crest that you're able to kind of brush the sand away.
Nice.
And it's a round crest that's engraved right into it. And in the center of this crest, there is the shape of a shield. And in the middle of that shield is something that reminds you of crystals that you've seen very recently. It's actually it is a crystal design. It's got these kind of jagged points to it, and it looks like there's kind of lines coming off of it, almost like it's giving off of light, and that's emblazoned in the middle of this shield that's set in this crest. There's no other writing or anything on it, but this symbol engraved into the very middle of this platform.
Like crystals from the volcano?
That is what it looks like.
All right.
The shape, the crystal, the design, it's very similar.
All right. Well, while those guys are doing their digging, I will again pop out the minor illusion to replicate the shield, like the crest. I'll sort of pop it up, hologram style, and sort of wave them over and pop this thing up and go and point down at my feet.
Talon, as you are on lookout, kind of keeping an eye out for anything that might be a threat, you see lots of brightly colored fish, almost like cichlid-like, just moving here and there. You see some silver fins moving about, and you find yourself just kind of distracted, pleasantly so, as you don't know if there's any danger. You kind of get distracted from it, but you're just watching the fish, and there's a lot of them. It's nice. Momentary distraction. And as you're kind of brought out of it by this sort of flash of an image, as you look over and you see Fleck making this illusory image of the symbol that he found and kind of pointing vehemently at the floor at his feet.
Now, before Dinar heads over to where Flick is, looking at the runes and the design on this thing, is there any script, anything written that could be legible?
You speak Dwarven, correct?
I do.
Okay. The only writing that you find appears to be a name. And it appears a couple of different times. And the runes, rather than being kind of written as script, you can see where there's like designs and, kind of angular patterns. And then all of a sudden in the midst of that, there are these runes that spell this name. And it repeats kind of regularly every so often, like it's worked into the design. And the name that you see is Drakfost. Drakfhost. Drakfost.
Does that mean anything in Dwarven?
Yeah, I was going to say, is that a
And it says it's a name, so it's probably like a proper name.
You can give me a history check.
Okay.
Talon, you speak Dwarven as well, so...
I do.
Yes, you can give me a history check as well, please.
Can do.
Hey, that's a lot better.
Well,
Talon, you have no idea.
I rolled a 19 plus my 7 for 26.
Noise.
Okay. You don't necessarily recognize the name. It's not one that you've heard, but given the way that it's written, you understand this to be a clan name. and the way that it's written kind of symbolizes this as the clan. So often in Dwarven strongholds, they'll be named after sort of one particular clan, but there might be, up to 100 different clans, families that all live there with different kind of family names, but they all will be part of this kind of overarching clan. And so Drakfost is both the name of the Dwarven clan that would have lived here and the name of the stronghold itself. They named it after themselves. So you are standing on presumably a part of Drakfost, stronghold, keep, castle, fortress, etc.
Okay.
Mine. They call it a mine.
A mine.
Okay. Can't really articulate that to the group, so Denar's just gonna put a pin in that.
What? Drink faster?
Yes. Then Dinar will go over and join Flick and take a look at this crest in the ground.
Yes, Torque will come over as well.
Okay. So as the four of you kind of gather in the middle here, it becomes fairly clear that what this is, what you're standing on, it's almost like a stone courtyard. This is something that would have been built even in kind of modern castles that you've seen, even non-Dwarven. There might be kind of a paved area on the outside that would be used for gathering troops or for ceremonies, or simply just kind of road leads up to this, and it's a big staging area before you reach the fortress. So it's something that would have been built on the exterior and kind of built into the ground, and just a place that's paved and kept well to kind of symbolize you are now entering the realm of where you're going. So you don't see any pillars. There's nothing really else kind of built onto or into this. It's just a flat square of worked stone.
All right. So, from this location, is there an obvious continuation of this tunnel that we're in, or is there multiple ways to go?
Yeah. So where you're standing now, you're essentially at the very edge of the sunlight filtering through the water and then into the cave, and beyond is dark. So how far the cavern continues to go on, you're uncertain at the moment because it's just dark.
So we can't even see if it forks. It continues and then black.
It's from where you're standing, like you're standing essentially in the middle of like a 200-foot wide.
Oh yeah, that's
cavern.
right.
So
Okay.
this isn't just like, this is a wide, huge chamber, and looking even at the sides, so the sides that you can see all the way to them, there don't appear to be any like tunnels leading off or anything. It's almost dome-like, not like a perfect dome, but the way the cave, it's almost kind of dome-like, and it just continues back. You can see that the walls do start to kind of curve inwards, indicating that it would narrow at some point, but you can't see beyond where you're at to know exactly how narrow it gets or where it leads. You're just basically standing with a wall of kind of obscuration ahead of you as the water just goes dark about 20-30 feet ahead.
All right. Dinar's going to reach into his pack.
I'm just going to look over at Dinar.
Because Dinar grabbed 5 of those blue shards, those blue crystals from the volcano. So you're just going to pull them out and see. Because once we left the volcano, they had lost their color, right? They'd become like quite inert.
Mm-hmm.
So bringing them to this location with this crest on the ground, is there any change? Or are they still the same as they were back at the Port of Sands?
Give me an Arcana check, please.
Okay. That's good. 13 plus 7, 20.
20. You don't really see much in the way of change or anything happening. It appears to be innate. But the more you kind of let your senses focus on this shard in your hand, you can feel the slightest pulse coming off of it, an inclination that it's waking up, so to speak.
The shards are?
There's something that is connecting to it. And given that activity, it's possible that if you continue on, they would begin to visibly change.
Hmm. Huh.
It's like your magic sense is tingling, right? You're like,
Yeah.
you feel it. You don't see it. There's nothing visible, but you can feel, something's different.
So I see him with the shards out and looking at them intently and just having sort of an aha kind of moment. Can I piece together that he's had, like, can I see that he's had this aha moment and that there's something happening with the shards?
Dinar has no tact, so it's all over his face.
Yeah.
You can give me an insight check. I'll say with advantage because
Sweet deal.
of that.
Ooh. Well, between the 8 and the 5, I guess I take the 8.
You haven't. You still have some work to do in identifying the facial expressions of Dragonborn.
Yeah.
And it's they're not as expressive naturally as more human-like faces, and so with the scales and the snout and it's hard to read. He could be constipated or he could be having an epiphany. It's really hard to tell at the moment. It's
He's just too scary looking.
yeah.
Craig, if Dinar looks up, how high is the ceiling?
You can see the top above you. It's about 100 feet up.
Are there any, like, when you're down in the water and you look up and there's like a bubble and how it looks different, it looks glassy?
Mm-hmm.
Are there any of those on the ceiling?
Interesting. Give me either a nature or perception. I'll let you choose.
I think I'm better at nature. I am better at nature. Hey, 14 plus my 4, 18.
Okay. So this is tying more into your understanding of nature and caves and air and water flow. And you look up and given the kind of the size of the opening and the size of the cave, understanding air pressure and how that all works, you kind of do a little bit of like mental math. You're like, there might be a little bit of a pocket. Nothing significant where you could like climb out of, but yeah, there might be maybe a foot possibly of trapped air at the top.
And is it a small area like around? Or could multiple people go up into that air pocket?
Oh, it's big enough. Yeah, it's probably like a good like 15 or 20 feet like of circle, but not like very deep because it's at the very, very top. And again, this cavern is almost dome like
okay.
Not a perfect sphere, but as far as nature goes, it's a very perfect dome.
Okay. Then Dinar is going to with the shards in his hand, he's gonna try to make eye contact with everybody. Do a whirling motion like this, and then he's gonna start swimming up towards the pocket.
Okay.
Torque will start swimming up as well.
I'll swim up in a corkscrew just to make sure that I'm following every command.
Do this. Whee!
Walk this way.
Torque, do you keep pace with them, or do you go ahead because you're faster in the water?
I will not try to overtake them. If anything comes up from the rear and I'm separated from the group, that would be bad. So I will stay respectfully close. I'll stay behind Dinar because he's the one leading the way. I don't know what we're heading towards. Okay. But I just will deliberately kind of slow myself so as not to overtake anyone.
Got it.
And
so you reach... Sorry.
I was just gonna say when we get to the bubble, Dinar's not just gonna go like up in there and take a big gulp of air. He's gonna kind of poke his eyes out above the water and just take a quick peek, and then
like a crocodile.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I was picturing. Yeah, like
you totally would
crocodile's
like
gonna
that
come up.
The dragon face. Yeah.
And then get his nostrils just above the water line, and take a little sniff to see if there's any like chemicals or weird smell up here.
Okay. Other than the smell of brine, it seems to be safe.
Okay.
You see there's like a couple of luminescent sea slugs just kind of crawling along the surface, just leaving a nice trail of faintly glowing slime behind them. Actually, it's beautiful and gross at the same time. It's one of those things where you're like, that's cool and disgusting. But otherwise, it seems safe.
Nature.
If it's reachable, Dinar's going to grab one.
Harvest it for Adam.
I was going to say harvest it for Flick, but...
Okay. Give me a Constitution saving throw, please.
Oh, dang!
Who's this here?
An electric slug.
Hey, that's a 20! A natural 20.
20. Okay. We'll say it this way then. Like, you're reaching out to grab it, and there's almost that, like, danger sense kind of in your mind that, like, bright colors of nature, don't touch. Oh, okay, don't touch. And you realize that thing's probably packed with poison. And you as you look at it closer, you kind of look and you're like, oh yeah. You can actually see like the venom glands kind of like lacing its skin as a defense mechanism that you don't want to touch this.
Okay, that's fair. Then Dinar will wait for everybody else to break the surface of the water.
What'd you find?
All right.
Treasure?
So, not treasure. Maybe, but certainly not here. So they're not reacting per se. And Dinar's holding up the shards in his hand. But it feels like they're getting ready to turn back on, if you want to call it that. Just thinking about where the boat was in relation to this island, and I'm wondering, you guys remember there was a couple of caverns in Mount Furagasa that we didn't go down because there was water?
Mm.
I think this path might take us to Mount Furagasa. And that's why these would be almost beckoning to be returned.
Well, that's pretty logical. I see a problem with that. Not the theory, but just if it is true, and these are indeed the ruins we're supposed to be finding, that would mean that when we report back where they are, they're going to send teams out here, which are going to then go into the volcano, and then they're going to mess with our friend.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
So, probably should make sure. Not that I really want to go back to that volcano, but you see what I'm saying?
Well, my big concern now is that if this really does lead back to the volcano, we're barely within eyeshot of that volcano.
It's going to be a heck of a journey, yeah.
This is going to be like multiple days if, in fact, it does go back there.
Is there any way you have of divining this answer?
No. No, we would probably need a cleric for that.
I mean, we could just carry the damn crystals a little closer, right? If they start getting a little warmer, or whatever your magic sense tells you, if they start getting a bit more.
Well, we don't really know much about these crystals. For all we know, they're a relic of some ancient dwarven kingdom, and this is just another outpost.
Or that, I was wondering if we could use them like a detector to find other crystals, right?
Because the thing is, if they're already here, they would have been placed here around presumably, the same time they'd be placed in the volcano. And if that's the case, well, could be part of the same kingdom, could also be part of the same thing. But here's where I find this odd. And Craig, you may need to correct me on this, but I believe those crystals in the volcano were they, did it seem like they had been placed there potentially by the new inhabitants, or that they had been there for a very long time?
They were growing in the cavern there, so they were kind of they
were naturally occurring.
Yeah, I have a note beside the crystals that they're Ataxian magic from the Chaos Weave.
Yes,
right.
So they are part of what is called an Ataxian fracture. You guys
so it's not difficult to consider that this ruins may have at one point been closer to the volcano, and they perhaps got the crystals from there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was wondering. Like, dwarves like doing forging and stuff, and a volcano's a good spot to do that kind of crap, right?
So what I'm saying is your theory has merit, and we can't disprove it. But there are other alternatives that could explain why these are here.
Flick might have the right idea, though. Just go a little bit further and see if the reaction becomes more intense as we go in a bit farther.
Completely ruled out the possibility that these crystals are naturally occurring, and that whatever happened here is similar to some past event that happened at the volcano.
I imagine that probably that's the case. That perhaps these crystals coming out of the Chaos Weave is what caused this ruin to be sunk. That perhaps we're sitting on a gold mine of this stuff just beneath the surface, and it spreads from Mount Furigasa to here. It could be that as well. We don't know how far the reach of those crystals really is underground. It's hard to say. I don't know. Did that anybody else get the sense that crest down there opens?
I was the one who was looking at it closest. Did it look like it was a door, or was it just a parade square kind of thing?
Given your investigation check, not 20+1 there, you didn't get the sense of it being an entrance, but more just an entry crest kind of thing. You're crossing like the threshold. You're crossing into the Drakfos domain, so it's just marking the entrance.
Welcome to.
Be honest,
More or
Dinar.
less.
This really does seem like your area, based on your history and your knowledge, expertise. I'm going to be honest with you. I've read a few things in my time, but I don't know everything. In fact, I don't know much. I was pretty much everything I know is down to one specific library in one specific location, and if they didn't have a book on it, I have no idea. Unless I got some hearsay from a sailor. Meanwhile, you, of course,
Sailors who are known to read.
and yeah, sailors never ever embellish the truth to an nth degree.
Never.
All right, so we're pretty convinced that this is the right spot, though.
Well, we have a name,
And a name?
Drakfos,
Drakfos.
right? Drakfos. So if that is what we're looking for, then yeah, this is it. Now, we could have a look around and find some treasure.
Well, yeah, so far all we found is a chunk of a tower and a parade square or a welcome mat.
Well, they've got to be interested in these ruins for some reason.
Yeah, but we haven't found any ruins yet. That's what I'm driving at here. We found, the top of a tower?
Well, what classifies as ruins? The top of a tower classifies as ruins.
Did we ever look in that?
We haven't really done we haven't done much of a look. We really just a more of a cursory investigation at this point.
How big was that thing? The
part of it that was sticking in the ground. So what Dinar was able to deduce, just based on his understanding of Dwarven architecture, was it was about the size of, it's probably in all like a 20 by 20 tower, like a watchtower.
Right.
So not very
Which
large.
would make sense.
And most of what you saw was kind of like the one corner of it, and maybe about 15 or 20 feet of its height before it was just kind of broken and jagged. So it was like the top of a basic watchtower, essentially.
Okay. So my fear is that if our volcano theory is correct and this place got blown up by a volcano, then its bits could be scattered far and wide. And this might just be one chunk and the rest of it is somewhere else.
Yeah.
Well, that's a fair point.
So I'd like to have a more substantial find than just the welcome mat before we go back saying we got it.
To be fair, I feel like it's probably better if we go around the northern end of the island on our way back anyway, because then we can still hit the other points. I see no reason to go back around where that horrible big thing and the maelstrom and the dragon turtle.
Yeah, we don't need to go.
We don't need to go back that way.
Yeah, we can tick some extra boxes on our way. That is it's equal distance either way at this point.
I think we take a look around, see what we can find. Keep an eye out for any horrible sharks and beasties. And find some treasure and call it a day.
I'll tell you what, I'll do everybody's favorite thing, and I'll I'll put up detect magic and swim around a little bit and see if there's anything hidden.
You haven't already been doing that?
No, it takes me 10 minutes to ritual cast that. I
Well,
was getting ready to when Flick found the crest in the center there, so let me do that. You guys can kind of swim around, and I'll take a close look with the detector.
Dinar,
Yes.
if things get weird and we need a quick and easy escape,
Yeah.
let me know.
You've been working on teleport magic?
No, but I have a way out. I am master of the ocean and the sky, remember?
I mean, is this dangerous for you to do?
No, but if I do it,
So-
it's going to reset us, essentially. It'll get us to the surface very quickly.
Reset us temporarily? Or
Well,
just,
no, I can... what kind of magic do you think I've got?
you're saying you're master of the seas, so I'm just putting
I
it
will-
there.
He's just
I
gonna,
will-
he's just gonna load you from the last checkpoint. mean,
I will increase our
Obviously.
buoyancy by a lot.
Okay. I mean, maybe that's just a fun, fast way to get out of here. Instead of having to swim like chumps.
Well, I'd rather not use the magical energy of which I
Okay.
have mastery of unless we absolutely have to. But what I'm saying is, if, for example, a giant 30-foot tall tentacle monster decides to show up, and I don't see it, or you want to, you don't want to fight it, just let me know and I'll get us out of here.
I mean, we're in a tunnel, so we'll hit the sea.
Well, not here.
And then have to swim. Okay, all right. I'll keep that in mind.
Torque has already just left and has started looking around.
yeah. Meanwhile, Flick is looking up at the glow slugs. It's like, oh man, those are hilarious. Slip a couple of those into an ogre's lunch, and he freaks out the next time he goes to the outhouse. Let me tell you, it's awesome.
Like theoretically, if we dash, swim, and use this spell, we'll hit that surface in like
with a water walk.
yeah, less than 20 seconds. Like we'll be out of there.
Like nitrogen bubbles in the bloodstream.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
It's less a gradual swim to the surface and a rocket.
Yeah, you rocket to the surface.
So
Yeah.
the bends might be a concern then.
Yeah.
Not
I think it's
advisable.
all good.
It's not advisable when you're like very deep underwater.
Then you're all like hysterical from like oxygen deprivation and
Well, I assume
Your-
with
your
water
body
breathing, if you combine it
having
with
the issue
water
with
breathing, we
pressure.
should be okay.
Mm.
We're not
No
that deep
physics.
anyway, so
yes,
We're
this is not a physics accurate game, or at least it is, but it's not.
well,
So,
to a
anyway,
degree, right? I mean, I don't know how water breathing works, but I always imagine it as manipulating the molecules to create a barrier of oxygen around our bodies, and then it just converts the oxygen in the water into the oxygen molecules around us.
I always figured just magic. So okay, that's good enough
I
for
just
me.
figured
So-
that you just grew gales.
Well, I
No,
feel
that's
like
a
I've heard
different. That's a
that
different
described
spell.
that.
That's
okay.
that's alter self.
That is true.
Okay.
All right, tangent
So
two.
Dinar's going to go down to the 60 by 60 square on the ground, right
Mhm.
on the crest, and start ritual casting detect magic.
That's a great place to start.
Okay.
I will get back on watch duty because I'm not convinced that there's nothing horrible here waiting to kill us all,
Okay.
and I'm going to try and be less distracted by the pretty colors.
Torque will, I guess, give Talon the help action for his lookout.
All right.
Okay.
Set up a little bit of perimeter to look around. Gotcha.
Also,
basically,
if I happen to see the glint of anything treasure, like, we'll throw it.
Okay. How's Flick spending the next 10 minutes?
I'm gonna get out a little pouch from my belt, collect a couple of glow slugs using my dagger.
Ooh.
Be hilarious, I promise.
Okay.
Come on,
Give
Craig.
me-
You give the players something with poison, they're going to try and collect
Oh, I
it.
know. Give me a sleight of hand check
Yeah, that makes sense.
Slight of
to avoid if we're going. Okay, yeah, you're.
I think
23.
it works.
Yeah,
23.
you're dexterous and precise enough, hands of a surgeon, and you manage to avoid getting any of the mucus on the wall on your hands, and you don't touch the slugs at all. But you manage to kind of pop.
We've already
There's
confirmed
about-
that Flick has the hands of a surgeon.
That's right. There's about half a dozen in total that you can kind of see in this little air pocket. How many are you trying to grab?
I'll take 2 or 3.
Okay, easy enough. Yeah.
You're just dropping them into like a leather bag?
Yeah, little pouch.
Did these things breathe water?
Mm-hmm.
It's not his concern.
Okay.
It's like you can give me a nature check if you want while you're
Yeah.
pulling these things
I mean,
off. As you
They're an endangered species, and those are the last two on the planet.
just took
15
half of
them
their
in-
family. 15. Okay. Looking at them, going based on what you know about slugs and bugs, which is an awful lot. They appear to be amphibious. Like they are.
Yeah.
They're living like they're on the air surf, like in the surface air here. But you've seen things like these underwater as well. They do appear to be able to survive in both climates. So
Just make sure you don't ever put snacks in that pouch ever again.
Yeah, well, that's all part of the plan, man.
So, for the purposes of your inventory, you can simply three poison sea slugs,
Awesome.
which also happen to be luminescent or bioluminescent. So they do give off a slight bluish glow as well.
I'm assuming they're just not going to survive for very long because there's no way they're going to have food.
And they're just going to have a pouch of bioluminescent poisonous goo. I mean,
That was more the point, really, because that's
win-win, right? Like,
that's the stuff you slip into someone's food, and then they have glow poos, and it's hilarious.
Remind me to prepare cleanse food and water.
can you imagine that? Like, okay, I'm not even. I don't even want to go there.
Yeah.
Everybody else is already imagining it, and we're sorry, but also you're welcome.
That's hilarious.
You're welcome for that mental image. Brought to you by Flick.
Wow.
All right. So during this time, Detective Magic is being cast. So Tayland, you are going to roll perception with advantage because Torque is
Yes.
giving you assistance on that.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Tag
Thank
team.
you very, very much. Because with
Okay.
a plus, this has been becoming a constant thing with me now. That if +7 on perception, but I can never roll lower or like higher than a 10.
With a 17,
17. All right.
you you don't see any larger creatures. Again, nothing really, any signs of danger. But you do notice something about the patterns of these schools of fish and the various creatures. And you notice that all of them, every type, every creature you look around, you see movement, they all avoid the back of the cave. None of them go very deep. You see a few of them, they kind of go into the dark a little bit, but they're very quickly back, and nothing seems to kind of go purposefully in that direction and stay. They all seem to be more towards the outer edge, and there's a few scragglers that'll kind of go in and then come back, go in and come back. Nothing comes out of the back. Nothing seems to spend much time kind of in that section of the cave. So while you don't see any signs of predators, there is something that is keeping natural life from wanting to go that direction.
Can I, if I were to bring out my wild companion, would I be able to have, like, let's say I brought out Bubbles, the fish.
Okay.
Could I get him to communicate with the other fish in like a way, like a primal way of like, just to confirm, like, is danger that way? And then maybe send him out that way and see what happens. I don't know if I want to do that yet. I want just to confirm, because it could be a natural predator, but it could also just be like a natural hazard, or it could be something far darker, like just a sense of wrong, like just some kind of psychological wrongness or something.
I like where you're going with this. So yeah,
Maybe just an even bigger shark.
Yeah, so
Like
I'll
going in the dark.
reach into the vest and pull out the fish bone, and then just kind of like poof it into an actual fish and telepathically communicate with it to go and talk to some of the other fish and see what's going on over there.
Okay. So being the new fish in the pond, as it were, some of the fish
He's not even really a fish.
and avoid it. But you do see him kind of, presumably talking to some of the other fish. He's going up and kind of moving around. They kind of do some circles
Yeah,
around.
I could not tell you how fish communicate.
Yeah, I don't know. They like one scale, like move one scale one way, and like I don't know.
I assume they have some method of communication. I couldn't tell you what it is.
I mean, really, all they need to know is like food, mate, run away. So
Yeah, I just want to confirm that they get run away from that particular location.
okay. So after, we'll say this gives probably another 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, that's right.
To the end of the ritual, and your fish swims back to you and give me an insight check with advantage. Just because it's familiar.
Sure, makes sense to
It's
me.
not just a fish, but it is. So this is you kind of.
I mean, yeah. Well,
telepathically.
I think it's
back to you. And,
I think it's a combination of that, but also like it has to translate the fish message into a way that I would understand.
Yeah.
13.
13. Okay. It's hard to really determine why they're avoiding it. You don't get the sense of fear. So this isn't a fight or flight response in with a predator being nearby, but it's more a I say the best you understand is they, for whatever reason, they don't like it. They just don't like.
So I can.
It just doesn't make them comfortable.
I
so
could
it's not
think
a fear thing. It's just more of a.
So it's probably not a predator. It is probably more like some kind of supernatural.
Some
Like
sort of
the-
repellent.
It's the cave in Empire Strikes Back. It's like some kind of weird, like dark void place.
There's just
yeah.
it's not even necessarily that. It's more, again, there's not like a fear or mystery. The best you get is just like, we don't really like it there. There's nothing there. We don't.
That still strikes me as some kind of supernatural magic, something magical. I think would be.
I'm wondering if this dome in and of itself, like it's made out of coral, right? Like even the coral doesn't want to grow over top of this; it bubbles around it.
That's what I mean. Like that seems supernatural.
Yeah.
We haven't felt any adverse effects by being near it, have we?
We don't have anything.
You'll feel fine. No,
Yeah.
you'll feel fine. Yeah, as fine as you are breathing water. For those of you who don't normally, but as odd as that is, but no. Otherwise, like, yeah, you don't feel. I won't say you feel fine because your mental states are. depending on each-
We're adventurers.
But you don't feel any different than you did before coming
Okay.
here. I'll just put it that way. So however you entered, whatever mental state and physical state you entered into this place, you still feel that way.
I am going to cautiously get Bubbles to slowly swim towards that area, and I am going to throw my senses into Bubbles as well to see, try to do some kind of melding to see if something affects it. Because, again, clarify, not a real fish.
Yes, of course. All right, so we'll say at this point the ritual has completed. So Dinar, your ritual completes. Your senses awake to the presence of magic. Immediately, there are a couple pings on you and your fellows, just from the various things that you have on you. The crystal, or the crystals, I should say, you can confirm now are giving off a very weak magical vibe to them, I should say. Whereas they had been inert and dull before, and you confirm that, but they are starting to become more infused. There's that trace of it there, like very, very, very faint. Your mind is drawn forwards, however, as you can almost sort of see this line of magic kind of connecting towards whatever's in the vast darkness beyond. And you do get a sense of abjuration magic somewhere ahead. And it is powerful.
Well, that's better than necromantic.
Very strong.
Better than a lot of things.
So you would know abjuration magic to be used in wards, alarms, shields. It's basically defensive type of magic. So there is somebody has somebody or something or whatever has created a field of defensive magic up ahead of some sort or another.
And that's towards the darkness, obviously.
Yeah, and it's just so you can. It's about you can sense what, like 30 feet, right?
30 feet, yeah.
So it's at the very edge. So it's like it's just kind of beyond the dark. So like you can see. You're probably about in the middle of this thing. You're probably about 30 to 40 feet away from where the light ends, and it's like right there, like right, kind of at that spot. And as you think about that now, and you look and you realize the light should filter a little bit more, but it's almost as if it just stops. Like it's almost like there's a wall now as you look across and you see where the light kind of ends. There's not even like, a couple beams that kind of go further here or there, whatever. It all just like stops evenly. Right where you sense this abjuration magic, the light stops. And that's the exact spot too where the fish seem to like, they'll swim a little bit by, but then they'll kind of come back. They don't want to go too much beyond that. So there's definitely something magical about the back of the cavern.
So, keeping the shards in his right hand, Dinar is going to wrap up his arm in his spell sash, and then use his, what is it called? The inner light. Use the inner light to kind of course some light through his palm, and slowly, just a walk's pace towards where he feels everything seems to be terminating into darkness. So just as he's getting closer, just step by step, the magic field obviously then sees 30 feet beyond him, so it's moving with him, and then the light as well in front.
Okay.
So what happens?
So that sense of abjuration magic stays with you, and you can sense now that as you can move closer, that it's deep. So you just caught the edge of it, but beyond that edge, it's still present, and there's just this kind of almost overwhelming sense of some sort of large magical force field or field of abjuration magic that's just all around you. Like as far as you can see in front of you, you look up, and your senses just kind of sense that it's there, just massive. Your light does start to kind of pass beyond that wall, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not as bright as you would expect it to be. There is a very, very faint dimming effect to your light. It works. The magic works. You don't feel any ill effects as you kind of approach this. But your light, it doesn't penetrate as strongly as you would expect it to. So something dims it. Not significantly, but enough that it's noticeable. It's like if you got a dimmer switch and you turn it down like a couple notches. You're like, oh, interesting.
I see him light up. I'll definitely swim down and join him.
Yeah, Torque will form up as well.
All right.
Just
Bubbles.
in case of trouble.
As Bubbles swims forward. So the sense that you get from Bubbles, Talon, is an uncomfortableness. And again, it's not fear, even though, Bubbles isn't an actual fish, isn't a natural creature, but there's still that sort of instinct built into it as it moves into this abjured area. The water just feels wrong. It's just weird. It doesn't feel like water's supposed to feel. It's water, but Bubbles is looking around and there's no lichen, there's no algae, there's no growth of any kind. There's no natural light. There'd be no reason for any fish or anybody to come here because there's nothing here. And that kind of gives you the idea of why they don't, because it's more or less just like, what's the point? It's not comfortable and there's nothing for me there. There's no food. There's nobody to mate with.
But there's nothing stopping from continuing. It's just this. There's just sort of this feeling.
Yeah. And
do I, as Tailend in the body of Bubbles, feel this, or is it just Bubbles that feels it?
I say, you understand, kind of through the telepathic bond, what Bubbles is feeling. The sense of just kind of like, the best way to describe it is kind of just like,
It's like
it's like the most apathetic meth that you could ever muster, which is ironic because it takes effort to muster. But it's, you know what I mean? It's just like I don't need to go there. Why? Like there's just nothing here. And the further the bubble swims on, you can see now that the cavern begins to narrow, almost like cone-like, where the wall's going to come in, the ceiling kind of comes down, and it does narrow up ahead to a smaller opening that continues on into the darkness.
Okay.
There's nothing, literally nothing around. It's kind of like a dead zone in the water almost, where there's living things can go there and live and breathe the water as they do or whatever, but there's just nothing there. Nothing stays.
Yeah, you keep saying that it's just this and it's just that, and I'm not buying any of it. So I'm gonna
don't read.
No, I know. Yeah, I know.
Into my scrambled brain, okay? This is me. This is my scrambled brain trying to explain it how a fish would understand.
Yes,
it.
No, I get what you're going. I am going
to put myself in the brain of a fish and being like, why? What would a fish think about this? So,
I am going
What's my
to
motivation?
see if I can keep getting Bubbles to move further down. This is really sparking my curiosity, because if I were to have treasure and I didn't want anybody to have my treasure, I put my treasure behind something like this.
Okay.
That's Talen's motivation.
Behind a wall of bad feelings? Yeah.
We'll get a perception check then for Bubbles, please.
It's not even a wall of bad feeling. It's more of just a wall of, I don't really care to go this way. And if you wanted to hide something.
Such a great deterrent, too. Like,
well, exactly.
Feel like a zone of apathy.
A zone of meh.
Oh, God. His perception is awful. All right. I'm using his perception?
Yeah.
Okay. That is going to be a -2.
Because you're using his eyes to see right now, so.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh, wow. You know what? He rolls better than me when I have a +7.
Okay. Okay. So there is something ahead in the tunnel that Bubbles doesn't understand, but as you're looking through his eyes right now, it becomes very clear to you that just about 5 or so feet kind of into this smaller tunnel, you can see the remains of what appears to be constructed fortification. There's definitely Dwarven stonework. Almost looks like an archway, like a massive. It's very large, probably about 40 feet. This big arch, but it's definitely constructed. It's not natural. And on one side, there's what appears to be sort of the bottom half of a statue. It's just kind of in rubble and ruins. But on the left side, the statue is still very much intact. And it does appear to be a Dwarven individual in full Dwarven plate mail, with a warhammer clasped by the handle and the head of it resting on the bottom. So it's like a statue, 2 statues flanking an archway, an entryway, one of which is now in ruins.
This is very intriguing. Does it look like a treasure room?
It doesn't look like a room. It just looks more like a entry hall.
An entry hall to a treasure room.
We'll have to go in there and find out.
Yeah, I think at this point I am going to zone out of Bubbles and make a quick gesture over to everybody else.
Yeah, Torque will saunter over.
Remind me, can I cast message underwater?
I think we determined that you can.
Okay, I just asked because it says you whisper a message to them, so I don't know if that.
It's like a magic, because you don't need them to audibly hear you.
Yeah.
I feel my understanding of messages that you're because even if somebody's standing right beside you, they don't hear it.
Yeah, maybe you just mouth the words.
Right, because it specifically says that only the person that you send the message.
It's just them. It just the spell description says you whisper the phrase, so I wasn't sure because of the fact that we can't talk underwater whether that.
But the way I'm reading that, so if nobody else can hear you, so that means even if somebody standing beside you doesn't even hear what you're whispering.
So it's magical enough to.
It's a magical whisper.
Okay,
it's not an audible
I will go through the process of saying the same thing 3 times and sending it to each of them.
Sure.
Basically,
You should message Dinar and then have Dinar message us.
yeah. We'll get
A tree going.
what's that new game out?
Brown guppy water lollipop. What?
Yeah,
Talon says that there might be treasure in this room. Purple monkey dishwasher.
Yeah.
What's a dishwasher?
Yeah, I'm basically just gonna say like, hey, beyond the weird place, there is like an entry hall with statues and stuff, and maybe we want to check that out
Okay.
because there might be treasure.
Because Dinar is uncertain of this darkness and the fact that it is dimming his magical light coming off of his
Cast
hand.
magic missile at it.
No.
I attack the darkness.
Dinar will start moving forward, but he's not going to just go full swim. He's got 10 minutes on detect magic, so he's just going to take his time, slowly walking in, starting with his hand, going through the threshold of where it seems to be dimming, and assuming
So see like where it's hot, where it's cold. kind of
exactly,
thing.
yeah. See if there's a temperature change, if there's an atmosphere change or anything like that beyond the darkness. And if there's not, he'll just continue slowly.
So once you move beyond darkness, you find Captain Kirk waiting for you on the other side. Yeah, there's no physical change. You as not a fish, not an animal. There's not a meh for you because you're not driven by instinct. You have intellect, you have intelligence, you understand reasoning. But moving beyond, you can kind of understand like, yeah, it wouldn't make any sense for them to come back here because there's nothing here. Like why would fish hang out in a barren cave?
So he actually has that thought, or is that like just sort of? 'Cause I'm starting to wonder now. This is just on a meta level. I'm just starting to wonder if like, because you say we don't get the same sense that Bubbles had. And by the way, I am ecstatic that we've managed to say the word Bubbles so many times. And
let me just so that there's no more reading into this beyond what
Sure.
I'm conveying. Let me clarify this, okay?
I mean, I'm fascinated. This is very interesting.
From a purely animal instinct level, what they understand is I don't need to go back there, so why would I?
Okay.
That's it.
And so when we
as
have that thought,
thinking
it's
beings, you perceive that and you understand on a very basic natural level an animal has no reason to go somewhere where there's nothing for it.
Right.
It's not going to go there because it's driven by instinct. You, however, you understand that that's how animals think, but you're not affected by that. So you don't walk in and go, I don't need to be here, and leave.
okay. So
That it's not like a magical meh.
it's
It's magical something, but it's not repelling you.
It's an arcane ward that just keeps the life of keeps natural life out. That's all it is, basically.
So let me ask this, Craig. If there's nothing back there for the fish, does that mean then there's no growth, there's no vegetation, there's nothing in here except for the silt and the walls and stuff?
At this point in the cave, yes.
Okay, all right.
Dead zone.
Okay, that is somehow magically
Well,
magically reducing my light. Interesting. Okay.
Well, if it's an arcane ward preventing certain natural things from occurring, it could also prevent certain spells.
That's true.
Unless it's an actual dead zone.
Give me a nature check. Anybody who wants to.
I'll give it a whirl.
Let's just
I'm not saying
Dis-
shoot for it here. Give me
Despite
nature.
having trained as a druid, I'm not very good at that.
that was almost a 1.
I assume that's the days that you kind of skimmed over.
Yeah.
You went and smoked in the back. Okay, yeah. Torque knows nothing.
Dinar rolled a 13 plus 4 for 17.
Ah, you beat me.
17. Okay. Kaylin?
Just.
I mean, I'll give it a shot. I'm not promising anything.
8. Okay. Okay. Flick and Dinar. You putting 2 and 3 together here. It kind of starts to make sense when you understand the ecosystem of the things that live in this area, and the reason why corals thrive in these waters, because of the current, but primarily it's because there's light and there's warmth. there's no light back here.
Hmm.
And the deeper you go in the ocean, you tend to find less and less life because there's no sunlight.
So you get those really weird worms that live on like geothermal
Right.
vents and stuff like that.
And so on a very basic level, I'd say Dinar especially, there's just nothing back here because the light's not available for them.
Hmm.
And the light is being suppressed even. So it's not even the
Mhm.
natural darkness. It's a area that is suppressing the light.
Okay, so
And
okay.
since the light is being suppressed, all of these corals and everything else that live in the light have no reason to be back here.
Okay.
There are things that live in the dark, but they're not them, and they don't want to be here. Basically.
So we can surmise that that's essentially what's happening back here is just simply the light is being reduced and it's having a global effect in that sense.
So that we can move on, yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Got it.
I was like trying to throw this, like, how can I throw this in game so your characters can get it? But this is also Craig being like, stop looking at the empty wall, there's nothing there.
Stop looking at the chair. Yeah. All right.
I just really like the idea. I just think it's really fascinating.
Well, thank you.
Well, hearing that there is an archway with dwarven statues ahead, Dinar is going to make his way roughly where he thinks Talon was pointing him. Slowly again, walking along the ocean floor. Detect magic assumedly would still be up for a few more minutes, and still holding on to the shards in his other hand to gauge reactions all around.
Okay. So as you leave the light behind, you now realize that the dark around you is oppressive. And beyond Dinar's somewhat dimmed light, there's nothing. There are no light sources. Not around you, at least. Looking up beyond the arches that you can see now, as you get right up close to them, down this tunnel, which kind of snakes a little bit here and there, you can just make out a faint ambient glow. A little bit of purple, blue, green, yellow, all kind of mixing together, just giving a very slow, pulsing almost at different rhythms, different times. So there is some light up ahead. The statues are giving off very clear abjuration magic to you, Dinar. The one on the right, faint, barely there. And looking at the ruined statue, you can kind of you get the impression that whatever magic was tied to it lingers, but is lessened significantly by the fact that the statue is in ruins. And so it's more just kind of like almost like an afterglow on that one. The statue on the left, however, is glowing, so to speak, with magical energy for you. So there is an active abjuration spell effect tied to this statue.
Okay, Dinar will turn around and get everybody's eyes. He's going to point to the statue that is intact. And using the crystals in his hand, he's going to just kind of do this. And then he's going to point to the statue that's all in crumbly. And he's going to go,
Give me insight checks, guys.
I'm going to cast message and say, dude, what the hell?
Dinar's hands are a little full right now. He can't really mess around with components and stuff.
Okay.
I got 17.
Flick and Talon, you have no clue what he's trying to say.
Yeah,
I was just like,
I don't have any idea what he's trying to convey.
The big fish, the little fish, like a little bit of salt. What? Torque, however, 17, you kind of look at it and you go, big statue, magic, Lilith.
Honestly, it couldn't be simpler.
Clicks for you.
He just looks over, the others just shrugs.
The barbarian gets it, folks. He's like, it makes sense.
I'm obviously overthinking this, so...
And with that, Dinar's not waiting to see if they comprehend. He's just going to turn around and keep going.
Torque will follow as well.
Now, this winding tunnel that's beyond the archway, is it also natural rock on the sides, or is it more carved hewn stone?
Give me a straight perception, as you're just kind of looking in.
That's a 1.
Okay. In the faint light that there is, you're not really sure.
Okay.
I will say that though, if you physically kind of get up to it, you can see spots where it has been straightened. It's not worked stone, like this isn't like stone bricks, but it is possible that it was a natural that has been worked.
Okay,
at
so
some point. But
so
to what extent
it's been dug out a little bit, maybe?
Yeah, to what extent it's natural and to what extent it's been created and mined, so to speak, or excavated, it's hard to say.
Okay. Dinar will just keep slowly moving down the tunnel.
You reach the archway that's just kind of beyond where the statues are, and you hit a force that just stops you, and you can't go on. It's just an invisible wall just blocking you.
And is my detect magic still up?
Mm-hmm.
And this invisible force isn't giving off anything?
As you come into contact with it, you can kind of sense it now and realize that whatever the magic here is was actually obscured somewhat, seemingly intentionally. They wouldn't have noticed it unless you actually physically came into contact with it, almost like it was masked somehow. But it does seem to be some sort of abjuration as well, that's connected to the statue. You can kind of sense the connection. It's not the same, but it's connected. So there's the archway has some sort of field there that you didn't see, your magic didn't detect until you were right there, and then the statues have their own as well.
Torque will see Dinar kind of struggling with an invisible wall and just kind of sidle up. He has his anchor maul in his hand, and he's just going to look at Dinar and be like,
Dinar's going to turn around and point to the intact statue, and make a fist and...
Wow.
Torque will just sort of like look over at it, give it like a side eye, and be like, give a look like, are you sure you want me to do this?
Like, no one in the party is going to have any problem with this except Dinar, I feel. Like Dinar is, out of all of us, the only person I can see who would be like, maybe we shouldn't go around vandalizing ancient dwarven structures. It would be Dinar.
But
it's in the way of the treasure.
I was gonna say it's not the treasure. It's the pulsing, arcane looking thing that's up ahead. And as a wizard, I'm very curious.
Do you have Identify prepared?
I don't have Identify. It is on my list of wants.
What?
How about Dispel Magic?
I don't have that either. We have not come across anything where we would need to dispel.
And once again,
I am a utility wizard. I'm about buffing you guys.
Dinar has proven his usefulness.
All right, Dinar at this because he's not sure. It's time to pull the audience. So Dinar is going to stow his shards. He'll pull out his copper wire and he'll send a message to everybody. Let's see.
Torque is going to
Look, if you're all right destroying the statue, like go for it.
Well,
go for it.
Well, let's. Dinar's gonna pull the audience. So
if you give me a minute, I'll give it a once over. Maybe look for an off switch first. Just saying.
Well, that's smarter than I could think of. Wow. Yeah. All right. So Dinar will send a message to everybody. There's a force field blocking our path. It might be coming from these statues. What do you guys want to do about it?
Could we like go up, like swim up and touch this force field, and we can feel it physically? Not that I guess I would. I guess I'll try that.
You can, yeah. You can feel it. You can feel it.
It's like a wall of force, basically. It's like that kind of idea.
Now, the ruined statue, could you describe how it was damaged again? Like, was it still holding the hammer, or?
Oh.
It's like waist down that you can see, pretty much. That's kind of broken apart. If you want to give a more thorough look at it, you can give an investigation check.
All right. Big old +1 to this.
Drum roll.
Big old
Oh.
6.
It was whole. No, it's not. I don't know. Lots of things could break a statue apart. You're not sure what it was.
I mean, just by sort of logical deduction, I feel like if the statues were the things keeping it active, then I feel like one statue breaking would probably mean that this wall would not be here right now.
Unless...
Based on what?
Unless there were 2 walls previously, like 2 layers, and each statue corresponds to 1 wall.
I will give you, based on just sort of your natural experience, or whatever. The statue doesn't look intentionally broken. It wasn't like hacked.
It's just crumbled over time. Yeah.
Just like eroded. Yeah.
It looks more like just a maybe something fell on it or cracked it, or
possibly damaged during the whole bottom to sinking to the bottom of the sea thing.
There aren't any rusty maul marks on it.
Can I disapparate Bubbles and then reapparate him on the other side of the barrier?
Certainly try.
I would like to try that.
Okay. You disapparate him on the other side. He apparates. And from the other side of the archway, the stone up above that you couldn't see, you see a light on either side kind of glow for a second. 2 beams of magical energy shoot right at him.
I'm gonna need to buy some more crackers. As soon as that happens, Talon's eyes are gonna go a bit wide, and he's gonna look at Dinar like,
Dinar.
Yeah.
When those go off, you sense evocation.
Is that magic missile? Yeah. It's likely magic
well,
missile.
it's
Likely.
something similar to that, yes.
But it's very, very clear evocation magic. Oh, yeah.
It is a missile made of magic, regardless. This changes things. That was good to know. Okay.
All right.
So yeah, I'll definitely give the intact statue sort of a once over, see if there's any mechanisms or any way to manipulate the arms or anything that we can do to it.
Dinar will assist with a spotlight.
So you're looking for physical, not magical.
I'll start with the physical to see whether it is whether there's a way
Investigation,
of turning this stuff. Investigation.
Yes.
And pow! Ooh, big 7.
I'm helping him. Does that help him?
Oh yes, sorry, yes. I'll give you advantage. Yeah. Dinar's helping.
Big 9. Another 9.
I mean, it's better. It is better.
It is better. That's true.
It's an improvement.
He kept on putting the light in the wrong spot where I wasn't looking. Then I'd look where he was.
Yeah, that's right.
Move it. It's all bad.
Okay.
You can tell that it's cut from a solid piece of stone, which is impressive, and it's totally solid. There's no cracks, hinges, seams. You don't find anything.
No moving part.
You're like, at least you're pretty sure. Like,
So here's
Almost
the
the
thing.
statues, but
I have an idea. It's a terrible idea, and it almost certainly won't work.
All of my terrible ideas have been fruitful, so I say go for it.
Based off the fact that I'm going to I'm going to be using the message spell to convey this in as little words as possible. But basically, the thought process: if I was able to get bubbles to be apparated on the other side, theoretically, I could Misty Step over there.
True.
I could then control water to throw up a shield of ice in front of me that might stop the initial attack, and then maybe I can find an off switch.
You can't bring someone with you when you miss these.
No, I would need like Thunderstep or a Dimension Door or something.
Well, I will counter that with, we could Misty Step over there.
Hey,
And Dinar's going to counter that with,
Well,
well,
Flick
there's
has
probably more than one or two wards over there, right? With
I mean,
magic
Flick
missile.
also has shield, which negates magic.
that's true. That makes it much better. Well, in general, it makes it much better.
But we also don't know if that's the only trap there is or not.
Yeah.
Dinar
Correct.
will message back. If you Misty Step over there and all hell breaks loose, can you even Misty Step back?
I can. I don't think Flick can.
Not today.
And that's a problem.
He's just got to survive for a whole day. It's fine.
Yeah, no, it's no issue, really. I need a second level slot. That's what I need.
Yeah. I mean, so this I think is, unless you want to destroy the statue, but I don't know how much of a, I don't know. This is another way we can do it.
If we can't find a way to get in, then somebody else is likely going to try smashing the statue. As much as I don't like the idea,
I'm as Tayland, I'm just going to voice the only real concern to smashing statues is that, you know, if the people here were sunk to the bottom of the ocean and they weren't happy about it, and they might still be here, if you know what I mean, and we start just smashing their stuff.
Yeah, I feel
like that's not going to go well for us.
If we can minimize the collateral, I feel like that would be for the best.
Talon's not one for preserving history or anything. It's more so like we live in a world where history can come back and bite you.
I'm more about preserving our paycheck personally, and
well, yeah,
that's fair.
We're supposed to be finding for them.
And Torque frankly just doesn't want to be typecast.
So if you think that's the way to go, me and Flick can get in there, or at least I can go. Like I said, I can get out. I know if Flick can't get out, I don't know. It's his call, but I can definitely get in there. And if it is magic missile, there's not much I can do about that.
No, you probably
because
get even times before you're out.
Well, depending on how it works, because I can Misty Step as a bonus action, create a thing of ice in front of me, and that might negate sight, which could potentially, give me an out.
But can you do that as a reaction?
Sorry, I'll give you this, Dinar, as somebody who intimately knows the spell Magic Missile.
Mm-hmm.
It was not Magic Missile.
Okay.
You didn't recognize the spell. It's not one that you.
Okay, so just evocation.
Okay, so it could be like it's just an evocation blast.
Worse.
It could just be an evocation blast. In which case, putting up a thing of ice could help. The shield spell would also probably help.
So,
in general.
Thinking more mechanically, rules wise, if you ready the action, then you could do it as a reaction.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, if I ready the control water, the shape water cantrip, Misty for when I've Misty Step and immediately do it, I might be able to stop it and give myself ability to move around.
If I can make one suggestion, this might be a bit more spell slot intensive, but considering that we're gambling with Talon's life right now,
I mean, like I said, I can get out.
Maybe you could use your acorn and send a beast up ahead first, because
I did also consider that. I don't know because I think I could potentially conjure a larger version of Bubbles or Sally in there.
Could you do that and the wall of ice, or is that too concentration intensive?
So shape water does not require concentration. I don't think. No, it doesn't.
Yeah. So
It just lasts for an hour.
So if you shake the ice first and then send the beast through, so then it's like.
Well, that was actually my plan. I wasn't
Yeah.
going to swim around myself. I was going to conjure the ice so that I don't get killed, and then I can have a familiar or whoever go around and check out the room
Right.
while trying to draw fire from the trap. This might not work.
So you're assuming that
Gotcha.
if you throw up a wall of ice, the trap doesn't see you and therefore won't shoot at you multiple times.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
It's,
Now I
this is what I
understand your
said.
plan.
It's a
Yeah,
terrible
okay.
idea that almost certainly won't work. But it's all I've got.
Or proceed. I do want to try one last thing, and Torque is just going to like put his hand up against the wall to see if it's solid for him as well.
Yep, doesn't move.
All right. Well, my curiosity is sated. I thought maybe it was. I thought maybe it was something that only kept magic people out. I wasn't sure.
Indeed, I do have one. I gave the statue a physical once over, but I didn't give it like a I didn't look for magic runes or any crap like that, because what do I know about runes, eh?
Okay.
More than me.
I mean, mildly. But you're savvy with the dwarven crap. You want to give this a quick look from an arcane point of view, and maybe
See if there's like a
make sure
magical
that
switch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you shoot a ray of frost at it and it turns everything off, or something dumb like that. Wouldn't that be stupid?
Yeah.
Arcana check.
I mean, egg on our face if that's the way it works, right?
Hey, I am perfectly willing to not risk my life
And
if I don't have to.
one,
So
one
Not the
more.
worst idea.
Yeah.
Not stupid if it works.
Because you already know that the statue is magical in a sense that there is magic attached to it, I'll give you advantage on this. for Arcana.
Hey. All right. So I'm trained. I get a +7 and advantage. Why do I bother? Why do I rolled a 1 and a 4.
Roll your digidice, man.
So 4 + 7 is 11.
I think
You know
we're
the
going to have to
statue-
go with the plan.
You know the statue is the source of some sort of abjuration magic that's attached to this invisible force field. But how? And where? And why is Gamora? You're not sure.
Greg, I am fighting every urge to do what party wiped me last time and just start blowing crap up. I'm not gonna, but that's where I'm just like, this is stupid. Just start blowing crap up. No.
All right, so I think the plan is Talon goes in. If he gets into hot water, I can pop in his rescue mission. And
The problem
get
is
back out.
you can't get back out.
I can't get back out. If it looks like you are in trouble but retrievable,
If I go unconscious, then yes, absolutely go in there and get me out of there. But as best you can. But I'm hoping those things don't deal like 30 some odd damage and that I can actually stop them from hitting me.
Look, if that happens, I can keep you alive from here.
That's my other idea, is that if spells go through the wall of force or whatever this is, then that actually benefits us. Like targeting spells, not attack spells.
It's like you going in there with no means of escape. That's just a suicide mission.
Well, not if you can figure out a way to remove the barrier.
and maybe it's a one-way door. Who knows?
Okay, so maybe just
Wouldn't
walk
that
back.
just be
Then you can just walk through on the other side.
just walk from the other side?
I hadn't considered that.
All right.
All right,
I think that's the plan then, Mr. GM.
time to do Talon's stupid plan. I like it.
So it's the best I got, man. I don't know what else to do. So I am going to ready shape water to form not a cube, just like maybe like a
Sheet.
yeah. Well, I want to make it thick, like a big, thick sheet of ice directly in front of me, and I can make it up to 5 feet, so that'll be covering my body.
So like 5 by 5 by like a few feet thick or something.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't even need to be 5 feet wide, just wide enough to block my body, and if I were to put my arms out a little bit. So I guess okay, we'll make it 5. Why not? We might as well make it 5.
If we're going mechanics, then if you wanted to block the whole square,
True. You are correct. So we'll do a 5x5 sheet of reasonably thick ice. We'll say maybe I don't know, like 2-3 feet thick, like decently thick. And assuming it rises to the ceiling, I'll just follow it, and then. So I'm going to ready that as an action for the second I Misty Step in there, and I'm going to create it in the direction of where I saw those beams come from when I sent bubbles in there.
Okay.
And if that doesn't work, then I'm getting the heck out of there.
All right.
Nothing ventured.
So you create the
For
wall.
treasure!
So step by step here. So
Yep.
You summon, or sorry, you
Misty Step.
shape shooting the Misty Step first.
Misty Step first. Because
Okay.
because I feel like I wouldn't be able to shape the water first, because then I wouldn't be able to see my point of Misty Step, right?
Glad you realized that. Yep.
Yes. So
The
I
whole
want
time
to
you're talking about this,
Yeah. So I want to Misty
where you're
Step,
going,
but
it's
the
great.
reason I'm going to ready my action to cast it is in case, mechanically speaking, those things attack as a reaction. So
Okay.
if I Misty, because realistically I should be able to Misty Step and then action do that, and that would be fine. But I don't know what those things can do. So to be safe, I'm going to ready the action to cast Shape Water, so that when I Misty Step, I immediately do that.
Okay.
Unless
And
the stack of reactions ends up going in against me.
All right.
But I don't know.
Dinar, what are you? Are you preparing anything? Are you just watching him? What are you doing?
So if he throws up a 5x5 ice block, would I guess how big is the tunnel that he's entering? That he's about to
The
enter?
tunnel. The tunnel is 40 feet.
Yeah, it's big.
Like it's big. Like this archway is like 40 feet. It's a big, wide, round tunnel. It's not small.
Okay, so
You could,
that's
like,
the
skirt
only
around
problem. Is
the
that
It narrows like what you can see beyond where that light is.
Mhm.
It's like it has started to narrow there, but right now, this is a big opening.
because my plan was to ready life transference, but I have to see him. So, and a big ice block is going to prevent me from seeing him
until it floats out of the way.
until
It will, yeah. It will not stay put because it is ice, so it is now technically lighter than water, and it will rise. You could also just like flail a hand out to the side or something, and I would argue you can see him if he does that.
All right.
'Cause it's not a hostile spell. So
Okay, so then, assuming he stays within 30 feet of me, Dinar will prepare or will ready life transference in the event that Tayland gets hit hard by this evocation blast or blasts.
Yeah, a fish is not a valuable way to judge damage.
Well, yeah.
So, for all we know, this is firing like fingers of death or something. It's just-
I feel like I should also ready some sort of action, even if I can't do anything magic.
Okay.
Have you actually tried just smacking the invisible barrier?
We haven't done that, no.
You know, I'll give it a shot, and I'm sure we'll feel
Have you
silly
tried
for
nothing?
it.
Try maybe it just shatters. Maybe it's just glass.
What's the dwarven word for friend?
Go away.
Belloc.
It's go away.
I mean, if it makes you feel, I'll make a reckless attack against the barrier just to see if anything happens. I don't think it will.
Recklessly attack the invisible barrier. Go for it.
I
I'm
mean,
gonna
how
laugh.
many
I'm gonna
dungeon
laugh
puzzles?
so hard.
How many dungeon puzzles actually involve just smashing the puzzle in question? So 24.
Okay. I mean, it's theoretically easy to hit because it's big and blocking
It's a wall.
Yeah.
everywhere around you. Your maul smacks into this thing with gusto, and it doesn't. You get the impression that if you weren't surrounded by water, that the vibration and the kickback would be pretty significant.
Yeah, I was worried about that actually.
But it's
the
dampened
second he
as
started
like-
swinging, I would run through my head like, what if it like reverses kinetic energy?
Yeah, so it just kind of hits and like bounces off and doesn't do anything.
Okay, so yeah. It was,
Okay.
it's
Or we'll
worth a
just
try.
like after you.
All right, very good. Then last thing, then quick shoulder rub on Taylor. All right, you got this, buddy. That's all I
Right,
got.
there we go.
Yeah,
We got the
yeah.
shoulder rub.
See you on the other side.
And I'll be ready to Misty step in if things go sideways. I mean, when things go sideways.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
No. Why'd you say that?
Not to derail this any further, but Craig, I do have one more question. If Torque is
Sure.
able to investigate this, the hammers in the statue's hands, are they like a separate piece, or is it just like all carved from a single like all carved from the same block essentially?
Sure. So the one that's remaining, it's pretty easy to tell that it's carved into it. Like you can see,
Okay.
it's very intricately carved, but like where the hands are, like the stone like matches, like it's all connected like one.
Okay, I was thinking maybe we need one of those hammers is specifically like the key that opens this barrier. I don't know, but okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Just Taylor, do your thing. I've derailed this long enough.
Tayland, you misty step. The rest of you watch as he appears on the other side of the barrier. There's roughly about 15 feet in. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't want to jump like super far in.
Yeah. And you instantly kind of turn and begin shaping your water wall or your ice. As you're doing that, here's what you see. On the other side of this archway, there are 8 gems.
Oh,
4
holy
down
crap.
either side.
Okay.
The 2 at the top begin to glow. And Dinar, as this is happening, you instantly sense that abjuration magic.
Mm,
And you begin to understand now. So you don't know how many gems there are,
mhm.
but when they come on is the only time you sense them. And I'd say with your understanding of Arcana, you understand that this field, since you couldn't sense it till you got to it, it's also masking magic beyond it.
Oh.
Mhm.
Normally you'd be able to detect if there's magic there, but you can't until it's actually active. So
Mm.
whatever this field is, it's suppressing your ability. It's masking the presence of magic. So even as Talon, as he uses his magic to create the ice, you don't sense that. You see him do it, but your detect magic doesn't pick it up. It's just, and it's weird. You're like, I see him. Why don't I sense this? But the things that are connected to the arch, you can sense it. All right. Talon, your ice wall is immediately hit by, you're not even sure what kind of energy this is. It's
Bad juju.
It's like white, but it's got a little bit like hint of like a little bit of like a blue in there, and it's powerful. And it's just like 2 constant beams just kind of come out. And even as these beams are hitting your ice and are just immediately starting to melt through it, you see the second set start to glow orange.
These are on the sides, not on the top.
Yeah, so where you saw them, the first 2 you saw.
Because the 2 at the top are the ones that are shooting at me right now.
Yeah.
Now these
But
are the ones on the
they're not
sides.
in the top center. They're at the top like this.
Oh, okay,
It's
okay,
like
okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. Like
I
that,
get
like
you.
lining down.
Yeah,
like
this is not
pillars
gonna-
almost.
This is not going to go well. Mechanically, how often are they doing like do I get a turn before the next set of gems would do something?
So I'm going to roll damage for
Okay.
these 2 rays as they obliterate your block of ice.
yeah, it doesn't. Shapewater doesn't give you stats for the ice, so it's pretty much it's just ice.
It's
Yep.
just ice, and here's what you understand is these are hitting you to like, it's not, you're not sure if it's fire or not, but holy crap, that's hot.
I can feel the heat.
It's just like searing through this. So
Because you said the ice is melting, not necessarily shattering,
yeah.
or it's both. I guess it's doing both. Okay, yeah, that's a lot.
So you take 7 points
Oh.
of unknown damage as it hits you, and like instantly you just feel the like, oh, and the beams don't go away as the next 2 gems start to light up. What are you doing?
Okay.
The beams are on you.
Oh,
Do they-
this is not good.
They haven't
Okay.
stopped.
Yeah, this is not good. Okay. Right. So there's the 40-foot wide area Do I immediately just like peripheral? Do I notice anything like where I'm standing, or I guess not standing, but like floating? Is there any other side passages that we may not have been able to see from the other side?
I'll call this your passive perception because I know you have a pretty good one at 17.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd actively be able to look around right now.
No, I'm just saying like I would probably notice if there was some passageway we hadn't seen before.
Passively, you don't see anything.
So it's just the corridor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those of you on the other side, by the way, you're seeing this. You're seeing his ice wall just get evaporated, and you're seeing two searing whitish blue beams just like focused on him and like on him. Hitting him, and he's like,
so I got two ways this could go. One, I try to destroy those gems. Two, I get out of here. I head down that corridor. I guess three, I head down the corridor, or three, I just come back. I'm not going to come back because we're just right back to square one. So I am going to. I can't move that fast underwater. Do I have a full turn?
What do you see the orange thing is glowing? What are you doing?
But I can
turn initiative here, but like
okay, I can dash. So I'm gonna dash down the corridor and see if there's a range on this thing.
Okay.
Attempt to flee.
So you turn away and you flee. The three of you on the other side, you watch as he does this, as he turns, and at half speed because you're underwater, he starts to dash away, kind of run, like slowly run into the water.
Not very quickly.
The beams just follow him and stay focused on him.
Like they're tracking on him? Like
yep. They just stay on him and follow him. Dinar, you now sense two more sources of evocation kind of light up. And it's almost like in slow-mo as these are lighting up.
So they're all evocation?
You can feel so far.
These gems, they are ensconced within the stone walls around this force barrier, right?
Yep.
Ooh, that was a better
that's what I was afraid of.
Talon,
Fire of these can be counterspelled.
The second gems haven't even lit up yet. This is from the
continual, yeah.
Two beams. You take an additional 16 points of untyped or unknown magical damage that just they're just like searing into your back.
Oh, my kingdom for shatter. Okay.
Before he does this, as he's getting outside of the range of my spell, I'm gonna unleash life transference. Secondly, though, before I do that, the force field, is it just preventing us from getting through the archway? Like we can get to the stone on our side of the archway, and the force prevents us from going further?
Oh, that's a good call.
Okay. First off, Dinar is going to use life transference because I know you don't have a lot of hit points.
I'm not super durable.
So 4d8 is coming. Well, actually, twice 4d8 is coming your way. So just a sec.
Neat.
Oh boy.
Looking at all my spells, it's like, well, half of them are all air-based, and the other ones that are water-based all require ice. I could throw an ice knife at it. I don't know how well that's gonna go.
Only because you're at the edge of my range. If you're swimming away from us, right?
I am, but at this, I feel like if it's not, like, I don't want to get out of Misty Step range.
So you went in 15 feet, and you're dashing.
So I went another 30
you another
feet.
30. So when you reach your first 15, that's the edge of my spell. That's when this unleashes.
Okay.
Because my range is 30 feet. So you get uselessly 40 hit points back.
40?
Because it's
40?
4d8 necrotic damage to me. And the creature
that
that
I
you
get
see
double?
within range regains a number of hit points equal to twice the necrotic damage you take. So I take 20 damage, you get 40 health.
Well, that'll bring me back up to full, so I'm okay with that.
Well, and that's where it's somewhat uselessly because you're just without range. Otherwise, I would have waited a little bit longer. But
Okay.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
What are you doing?
Two
more gems heating up. What are you doing?
Yeah,
At this point, Torque is going to start attacking the archway itself. Like he's going to attack like the right column of the archway to try and bring the archway down.
Okay, go ahead and give me an attack roll on that then. While
Okay.
this is happening.
Reckless. I mean, hang on. I don't want it to cave in on top of Talon. I just want to take out.
No, I'm not going near. I was thinking of casting Thunder Wave at it.
Okay, yeah. So I'm going to attack the archway from our side. I'm going to attack recklessly. fish for those crits.
And
Like
Oh!
Should have raged, but
Go ahead and roll damage. What's Kalen
so that'll
doing
be 24 bludgeoning damage to the right column of the archway.
The right color. Okay.
You hit it. Your maul connects with it, and as you pull your maul away, there's like the tiniest little indentation, little mark.
That tells
that
me
you
everything
hit
I need to
of-
know.
Of you hit it, like you hit it with everything you've got, and it's like you took off like you didn't really take off a chip. It's like you just nicked it.
Well, I get 2 attacks with my attack action.
Sure.
Second one for sure.
Go ahead and make your second attack.
Hey,
Let's
go
take
ahead.
it down.
Out of it.
This will take it down right here. Another crit? What? Double crits.
Classic
oh my gosh.
torque.
Okay, go ahead and roll damage.
All right.
This is the
Oh.
definitive test right here.
Yeah.
Only
Oh
if
my
you weren't
word.
wasting these
Okay,
crits.
let's see.
I know.
17 bludgeoning damage that time.
You don't even double the size of the dent. It like possibly, if you were like examining with a microscope, has increased a little bit. Enough for you to realize that like with the amount of force that you just like gave this thing, if that didn't chip it, crack it, dent it,
We're gonna need a different approach.
it's not going to work.
Okay.
There's something beyond the natural stone here that is keeping this thing up.
Witnessing that,
Which
I'm
kinda
going
makes
to.
sense, given
it
everything you
does. I mean, if that was that easy, yeah. Out of desperation, I am gonna cast Ice Knife and try to target one of the crystals that I guess is heating up. I guess the one that's
Okay.
currently in the process of heating up.
So there's 2 on either side. The second one's down that are.
I'll go for the one on the same
Orange.
side that Torque attacked.
So on
And
your left then.
Yeah, on my left, the one that's glowing orange.
Okay.
I don't know. Oh, for God's sake!
That's your attack roll.
Yeah,
Aim
that is my
just-
attack roll.
Aim's a little bit off, and you hit.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna, for movement wise, I'm gonna start moving back towards it because I'm gonna get the heck out of here. I'm out of range for Misty Step, is why. So I'm.
Does Ice Knife still explode even if you don't hit?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, it does. So the crystals need to make a dexterity saving throw.
Let's see
No,
if
they
they
don't.
dodge out of the way.
Okay, so we're gonna look at.
They don't.
I don't even know if this is gonna do anything, but it's 11 cold damage.
Has no effect.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Ugh.
So I will move. I will move my full movement of 15 feet closer, and then I'm gonna have to take some damage, and then on my next turn I will Misty Step back through.
While
So
they're
with the-
doing their stuff, I'm going to take another look at the statue now that things are active. Is there any change to the statue?
Okay. You can give me an Arcana or an investigation for this. I'll leave it up to you. Each will have a different result as to what you possibly perceive.
Where's my
While that's happening, Talon,
oh,
the 2 beams from the top are still on you, and you feel them kind of pierce through as 2 more kind of join you. And so you have 4 beams currently on you.
Mm-hmm.
You take 20 points
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
of damage.
That's why that healing was important.
21 Arcana check,
Hey.
because the nat 20s are rolling tonight for everyone.
Natural 20, amazing. Talon, you do now see the third set starting to glow.
Yeah, that's all I need to now.
And they are kind of like a purplish blue kind of color that just start to glow.
So I'll move assuming I get another turn.
Yep, I'm just going to go with Flick first here because
Sure.
so Flick is studying the statue, and you're not sure what kind of clicks in for you. Maybe the combination of everything, thinking about where you are, the this is the threshold of a dwarven kingdom, the entry gates into it, and something, your mind just kind of clicks, and as you look at the statue, this dwarven statue, and there's abjuration magic on it. There's magic on the on the archway that's protecting only dwarves can pass. It clicks in your mind that this is to prevent non-dwarves from getting in. There's something about the statue, and it is the statue. The statues are what is creating the other magic force field. And so theoretically, if that second statue was up, there'd be something else going on here. So at least half of the magic has faded because that statue is broken. So this second statue is what is keeping this force field active.
So what we're saying is the first instinct to knock this shit down was actually...
Come on, Dinar. I'm glad you had to sacrifice your life essence to heal me.
I was the one that suggested we smash it, and you're like, "Wouldn't you?"
You could have just smashed it right then and there.
It's true.
Nah, it was a group. Yeah, it was a group effort.
Oh man.
So Talon, are you just using resting rhythm to like get it out kind of thing?
So I'm gonna move 15 feet to get within so that I can Misty Step back to the other side of the force field, because I can't get within range to. I'd love to keep trying to attack these things from like a melee where it's just not. I can't take another hit, right? Like I'm done.
Yeah. All right. So I'd say on your turn then, yeah, because you can do that. You can move, and then you can use your Misty Step, and you get to the other side before the third ones join the attack.
I'm now going to start casting Mending to fix my clothes.
What kind of damage is he? Because you like,
I'm assuming burn.
What kind of armor? What kind of
boiled?
So I have a changed shirt on underneath my my sailor outfit.
Is it magical?
No.
Okay. So it's not damaged. Any like clothing, any like cloth or anything if you're wearing over like your shirt.
That was over it. Yeah.
So your shirt is toast.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just like it's just gone.
So it's beyond mending
because it's hitting you like it's like all the like the beams were like hitting you like center, like the chest center, like focusing like right there. So like your clothes just like burned away.
Talon will have quiet indignation about those clothes since they were more expensive than anything he'd ever worn.
This also means that his necklace is visible now too, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, your chain shirt was starting to get uncomfortably warm.
Yeah.
You get the feeling
to clarify,
that any longer there would have got like yeah.
I'm not wearing a chain shirt over my bare flesh because that would chafe. But it's like
pretty warm.
Yeah, no,
like
for sure. What I mean is not even a gambeson. It's literally like just like a cloth like undershirt.
Okay. All right.
So yeah,
he's got his long johns on. Wife beater.
Basically, yeah.
I will sort of call Dinar over and I'll sort of walk him through the. Okay, so like I know shield, and that's an abjuration. I know protection from evil and good, and that's an abjuration. I see the abjuration symbols here, right?
Mm.
And I know booming blade, and that's an evocation. I see that's tied in here, right? And sort of walking through my thought process of all the stuff that I picked out from here. I was like, so doesn't that mean that this thing is controlling that thing? And so if we break this thing, then that thing stops working? Or am I just like being dumb here? Like I'm just an amateur. So I'm looking for the expert advice here.
Dinar's got both hands up to his face now. Pull up the copper wire. Torch. Smash the dang statue.
Aye, Captain. Torque will sidle up. There's no panache, there's no fanfare about it. Like he goes at the statue like just like it was his day job, essentially.
Prodigal, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I've been working on the rail.
There's no flourish, no nothing, none of that. He just walks up to it and just immediately starts hacking away.
Cool.
Reckless attack.
That was almost a 20.
No crit this time.
Yeah, you saw the dice roll too. Huh?
24 will hit.
Says 13. I'll attack a second time.
Okay. I'll let you go ahead and do that. 25. Yeah, that'll hit. 25 will hit.
And oof, low roll.
Two
So-
ones.
13, 8, so 21 total. Looking at.
Yeah.
All right. You lay into the statue 2 massive whacks, and where are you going for? Give
I think
me
he-
location.
Kind of try and hit it from sort of like the base. So like almost sort of like chopping down a tree,
Yeah.
right? Where if you take out the base, then the whole thing will just kind of collapse. So
Okay.
like around the shins
Cool,
region.
Okay. So as you connect with this statue, you realize that in its prime, when this was created, without the wear of the passage of time, the wear of the water on it, that this probably wouldn't have worked. But the other statue, in its crumbled state, is like, okay, so it can be taken down. They've been weakened, obviously, and that proves to be true as you like hack into this thing. 2 big whacks with a massive maul, and part of the stone of the like left leg just got like cracks and chunks off. As it does so, from inside the statue, light bursts out. Very faint blue. The same blue as your crystals, Dinar.
Okay, I was gonna say if a freaking ghost comes out of there, I was gonna be like,
Nope.
Torque will look over at Tayland and like gesture for the wire for Tayland to message him.
Aelin's in the process of casting Cure Wounds right now.
Okay, Torque will wait.
Dinar will then pull out the shards of crystal, or at least one shard of crystal, and hold it up. Is it glowing?
Oh my god.
Just like the slightest little bit. Like just barely.
And he's going to bring it right down to the source of this glow coming out of the statue.
Doesn't really get too much brighter, but it does seem to. There's almost a pull, like a kinship.
Hmm.
The two kind of like pulling to each other, enough for you to confirm that it is the same. That whatever magical essence is within this statue is powered by the type of crystal somehow that you have.
Okay.
Clutch.
At that, Dinar will go over towards the archway and just see if the force field is down.
Still there.
Clutching the symbol of Mirentha in one hand.
The statue's not broken down. There's a chunk out of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I will message Torque. Yes,
Are you badly wounded?
not anymore.
Torque looks at the statue, looks back at Tayland. I'm counting this as 1.
Really?
I asked if you were okay first. I'm gonna make another attack roll.
Remember that time I killed a statue?
I'm gonna make another attack roll.
In another world, is Rorf going, that guy killed a statue. I killed a sword.
The sword was actually a threat, though.
I mean, this was 2.
Who's the mastermind behind it all?
Okay, am I alright to make 2 more attacks against this thing?
Absolutely. Go to town. 20
That's a
20 will hit. Yep. 20 will hit.
for another 10 damage. Oh, sorry. I guess my rage is turned on, but just assume that I've been raging for this, because I would be anyway. I just forgot to.
I sort of did assume that you were raging
Yeah,
for
and
this.
then another 20.
Yep.
Oh, there we go.
Ooh.
So 18.
You're 49. All right. It's coming. You're whacking away to get another couple big chunks out of the leg. And that glow kind of seems to be part of the statue, but not like it's there, it's present. And as you chip away kind of some of the rock, Dinar, you notice that there's like flecks, almost like crystalline, like flecks embedded in the stone, like within the inside of the statue. But it was carved from one. There's a bit of a conundrum going on where it's hard to really figure out how they did this, and
would you
incredible feat of arcane engineering.
So the thunderclap spell specifically specifies creatures within range.
Mm-hmm.
Would you consider the statue able to be targeted by thunderclap?
It is not a creature.
So no. Okay.
Oh, so but I can't use magic missile on this statue either.
Shall I hit it again?
I think this is just going to be.
Do you want in on this?
Well, you're
maybe chip at it with your dagger a little bit.
Give me another round here, and I think this will determine.
Okay.
What we need right now is like an adamantine anchor or something.
I'm not going to make you go. We're not going to go for half an hour of you attacking this, but I'm just looking.
Okay, so the 20, 26, I know those both hit. So 14 and 16.
So, given your proclivity here for hitting 20s and above, which the AC is 20, and you haven't missed yet. We will say that a few more rounds of Torque, just Torque versus broken statue, Torque eventually wins, and it takes a couple minutes. You're always watching as Torque is just going at these cracks, reaching up the rest of the statue, and again this blue light just softly kind of glows out of it. At this point, Dinar, the more that the statue breaks, that glow actually starts to fade again, and your crystal starts to dim again as the magic seems to leave it. And you look at the other statue that's crumbled, and there's no magical essence there, and so it seems to be being tied to the statue remaining as it was. And as the statue finally gets taken out at the knees, as it were, and just kind of breaks off and slowly falls in the water, and kind of like comes to a rest almost against the archway, and disconnected now, the bottom broken, laying in rubble. There's a little bit of a in the archway, and Dinar, you now sense, with your detect magic still up, 8 sources of evocation rapidly fading.
Oh,
That's all right.
Dinar will go through the process. Oh,
but they're fading, so you get the feeling that the magic is done.
Sweet.
Dinar will go through the process of casting message and informing the party that because I don't know what's on the other side. Whatever was attacking Tayland on the other side seems to be deactivating or powering down.
I do wonder now whether using your crystal shards might have been able to cut through that force field somehow. We'll keep that in mind for the next one of these buggers we run into, because I'm sure there's more crap like this inside.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that.
Let the record state that the next time we have an idea that endangers one of us, it's going to be not me. Everyone gets their fair share.
Yeah, I mean,
Torque
if
will just nod,
me,
because
then it was racing hit points versus how fast Torque could bring that statue down. And
Well, all I can say is it's a damn good thing Flick did not come with me.
Yeah,
no kidding. It's the only reason that we found the switch.
Because I have a feeling if Flick was in there, Torque would have not destroyed that statue in only a few swings.
Well, we wouldn't have gone back to the statue.
As the force field is down and the way ahead of you appears to be clear, we'll go ahead and take a break.
All right.
okie dokie.
Be back shortly. Stay tuned. Welcome back. I hope you had fun during the break. We certainly did.
I got cheese.
Lots of puns. Are you surprised? Beautiful.
We don't do puns here.
That's not even funny. That's
just wrong.
Why would you say such a thing?
Why would you just?
All right, so we're going down the tunnel.
So what's the
Yes.
opposite of GM inspiration? Is that what the
TPK. I get inspiration means you guys get TPK. So the archway, the magic fades and the force field dissipates, and Dinar, as your detect magic spell also reaches its end, because I believe it's 10 minutes.
Yep.
You just kind of sense these gems fading and the magic within them becoming inert, and you can see a little bit more clearly now, almost as if it was kind of casting up a little bit of a haze that you didn't realize. The tunnel beyond is fairly dark for about 60 feet or so, and it continues to slowly narrow, very slowly. And right where it gets to about kind of half the diameter, about 20 feet, is where you can just make out these kind of different colored glows. They're just very softly just kind of pulsing and giving ambient light to whatever lies beyond.
quick question? Did the light dampening field also disappear? Like, does Dinar's glow now full intensity?
It is not. It is still a little bit dimmer, but I will say, since you pointed that out, that it's actually, give me a perception check from Flick
Sure.
on this.
Perception 11.
Okay. No noticeable change. You're unable to discern how many lumens it has increased or decreased.
Is it a soft light or a cool light?
Daylight bulb, or is it? What do you
Counting lumens or candles or what do we like?
All right, gentlemen.
Well,
Tally ho. I will put a hand up to Tayland and say, no, I will go first. You've done your leading for today. I'll take the front.
Okay.
Torque will go up front
Underwater
as well,
imaginary head.
just because Torque will go up front, just sort of like, just walking side by side with Flick, just, because I've got the danger sense and everything.
And it gives us that skewed, like, big guy, little
Yeah.
guy.
Marshall's up front, Squishy's in the back.
Plus, we're total like a buddy cop movie at this point, so it'll be great.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the good perception, I've got the danger sense. We fight crime.
as we go past
the laser gems are behind you, so they're not going to hit you guys. It's great.
Speaking of the laser gems, as we go past them, Dinar is going to, because he hasn't seen them yet, he's going to take a look past the archway, turn around, and scope out exactly what's going on. And then, assuming he can see them, he's going to thumb a few of them and see perhaps if there's a way to remove them.
Okay. So upon closer inspection, they're not actually gems. They seem to be cut to sort of mimic that shape. But because of your increasing familiarity with crystal, these are in fact crafted of crystal. The same crystal that you have. And you can see embedded within that there's different flecks of different colors, which kind of give them their different colors when they light up. But when they're inert, it almost looks like just dull, like almost like little flecks of orange in one, flecks of purple in another. But it appears as though the dwarves, presumably, who lived here, had found a way to harvest and craft using the crystals, which you understand, like they're actually quite fragile, kind of in their natural state. You break it off, and like you know that they became inert within after you moved away from kind of where they grew. But it seems the dwarves have been able to harvest them and use them in some manner. They are embedded pretty solidly in the arch, and as you look at them, you can see that there are very faint runes kind of inscribed around the socket of each, like they've been set into a socket, and each one has Dwarven script on it.
Am I able to read it?
It's less of a language, like it's not really words, and it seems to be more like numbers, like markings. Almost like each one has a formula. It doesn't make any sense to you, and a lot of it's kind of worn out. But like one, for example, is it'll be like DF-006 with like numbers and letters, kind of almost like serial numbers. Actually, would be kind of the best description.
Right.
Almost looks like each one has kind of a different, and each matching pair has the same markings.
Okay.
But they're different for each set. So each pair of two has different serial numbers. So there's 4 different serial numbers. I'm going to use that term because it makes more sense. In total, one for each pair.
Okay. All right. I don't think there's.
Will you share this revelation with the class, or is it
in as few words as possible?
What is the word limit on message anyway? Is it like 25?
I don't. It's not like sending. It just says a message. There's no actual number.
Yeah, just a message, but it is a cantrip, so like you can just.
I'm not gonna say like you can spend an hour talking and it's gonna pass. Yeah, it's like
yeah.
It is something you have to recast, like so somebody can respond, but then I have to recast.
It's like something you can speak in 6 seconds, kind of.
Yeah.
Dinar's not going to pass the message along to everybody, but he is going to pass the message along to Flick. So these gemstones on the other side of the archway here, same crystal type stuff that we found in the volcano. I don't know how they're manipulating it into the stone like this, but these aren't gemstones.
interesting? You think they knew how to grow this crap, like, intentionally?
I'm almost wondering if that's how they're doing it. If it's not so much that they're harvesting and manipulating, but if they're growing it specifically in those locations somehow. I don't know. I don't think I can move them though and have them be any use to us.
And the markings?
I'm sure back then these would indicate what each stone does, since they have a different color. It's not
batch numbers or something?
Yeah, something like that. There's like letters and number combinations here. They correspond across the archway, but I can't make sense of it.
It's a captcha phrase for each one.
It's a QR code.
Yeah,
prove you're not a robot.
Now show me in which of these crystals you see a stop sign.
Get it wrong, you get disintegrated.
Oh. All right. Not finding anything of value with the crystals, Dinar will lead up the tail of the group.
Okay. As you progress into this tunnel, and the multicolored ambient light ahead of you gets closer, you get to a point, Dinar, where your light begins to brighten once again. Not as noticeable a wall, but more just kind of you pass a threshold about 50 feet or so from the archway, where your light just kind of fills out a little bit at this point now. And you begin to see signs of life once again up in the tunnel.
Hmm.
Specifically that of bioluminescent fungi, aquatic fungi, and lichen growing along the sides of this tunnel. Some on the floor, most of it kind of off to the sides, which you realize is the source of light. And it is beautiful and strange and alien. And just, they all just kind of give off this very faint pulse. And as the colors kind of mix together, it just kind of creates this almost like trippy sense as you're walking through a tunnel of, you know, in the water, you can see the light kind of plays and refracts here and there. And the, you know, one pulse is this color, the other pulse is that color. And it's not like bright. None of it's overly bright. None of it's not fast pulsing. It's like very, very, very slow. And so it all just kind of has this very soft sense, almost as if as the lights pulse, like that's the tunnel's heartbeat. And you can see that it is natural. But all of you, Dinar, you sense it the most, but all of you can sense the like tingling sensation, almost the understanding that this is life that has been infused with magical energy.
Yeah, I'm gonna again grab Dinar's attention, point to his crystals, and make a pumping motion. Point to the crystals and point to the glows and how. Because when we were in the volcano, that was the same sort of thing where there was that heartbeat throughout the volcano, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is reminiscent of that.
Dinar will go over to, let's say, a blue-colored thing.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just to see, pull out some shards. Any change?
In the shards? Nope.
Yeah. No? Okay, he'll pocket them again.
Still that very, very faint sense of inert magical energy. Like it's there, but it's not increasing at all.
But the crystals here are clearly working.
Yeah. I'm just curious if we were to rejoin our crystals to the ones that are powered, if they would repower or...
There's probably something we can do, but I feel like we need to find like a book or something that explains how to do how these things work.
It's total trial and error. So not seeing a reaction, Dinar will pocket the shards, and then he'll reach out and kind of give a light touch on one and make sure it's not like super poisonous or something. He's just gonna like tap and release.
Is it radioactive?
Make no, I'm kidding. Interestingly enough, they do respond to your touch. They pull away a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Almost just kind of like a reflex. Not like a sentient reflex, but more just a kind of that natural instinct to, you know, so it's a predator or kind of thing. It just move back a little bit. And then as your hand kind of stays there, they slowly kind of just move back to... They feel like spongy, but nothing else happens when you touch them.
Is there a lot of them?
I mean, in total,
yeah,
they're everywhere.
Okay.
Like there are pockets of them just covering like whole sections of the wall.
Okay.
There's some like over in the corner over here. Like there's.
Dinar will pull out his dagger then, and grab it by the stock, cut it off, and pull it up.
Okay.
Does it change? Does anything happen?
When you reach in and you cut, again in that motion, like all the ones kind of around the one that you grab kind of like pull back at your sense.
Mm-hmm.
And as you kind of detach that one in your hand, it kind of retains its glow for maybe like a couple seconds and then just fades and becomes kind of like a dull blue, like a matte dull blue. But the light goes out.
I think Dinar will try to make eyes with Flick then. Mushroom in one hand, pull out the shard in the other.
Yep.
He'll pocket that mushroom for now with the shards, and then rejoin the group.
Dinar's getting ready to prepare one heck of a dinner. Shards for crunch, bioluminescent fungi for a little sustenance, like put them together.
Is that a mushroom in your pocket or et cetera, et cetera?
On this episode of Will It Blend? Okay, noted.
I guess we'll just keep moving down the tunnel then.
Okay.
I suppose until we hit something else.
Okay.
Unless somebody else has something they want to do.
I'm not doing a damn thing.
You continue to follow the tunnel, and it curves like a little bit, but you can definitely see spots where the kind of natural curve has been chiseled or carved away to make more of a straight, evenly spaced thoroughfare. So it appears as though the dwarves kind of took this tunnel as it was and worked at it to serve their purposes originally. And essentially it's kind of like an underground road or a highway that they used from their entry gate kind of thing. And you get to a point where it takes a sharp turn to the left and then starts to actually go up a bit of an incline. Very gentle, gradual incline. And you can see in the floor as you're going up that what is now weathered and fairly smooth, there are spots where it looks like steps had been carved long ago. Long weathered to the point of just being recognizable as what they are. There's just little ledges here and there. And so steps would have been carved into this. At one point, it probably was much more steep. But as it's been worn away by, passage of feet, time, water, all of it has kind of softened that sharpness to the steps and just worn them down. So it's just almost like little bumps kind of here and there as this tunnel kind of inclines upwards. At the very top, you can see that it opens a little bit wider. And just as you're kind of cresting halfway up and you can see over the top now, the cavern above opens higher, probably to a good about 50 or 60 feet. And there's still these pulsing colors here and there that are kind of giving you enough light to see up ahead. You can't see everything. It's kind of strange where there's like pockets of darkness where the light doesn't penetrate just because it doesn't reach that far. Kind of hindered by the water bit as well. But you have your light that's kind of giving you light around you. So you're traveling in like little pockets of light, as it were, but you can just kind of make out this space ahead of you. Coming to the top of the incline, you look ahead and you can see what is unmistakably a dwarven ruin.
Was that a rune or ruin?
Ruin.
Ruin.
You can just make out the stairs and worked stone. Flick. You can't see in the dark, but you do have much better eyesight in dim light than the others. And so even in the pockets where there's not direct light, the ambient light that goes past that is enough to give you a better vision of what's out there than what the others can see. And so you can make out statues just kind of on the edge of your vision.
Oh boy.
One over here, one over there. And you can just kind of make out what appears to be an open doorway right in the middle of an elevated platform with stairs leading up to it. Ruin everywhere. There's broken natural stone, there's broken worked stone, This place has been rocked and shattered by at least one, if not more, upheavals of some sort. That is
Statues similar to what we saw at the front entrance.
From what you can tell, they have the same kind of dwarven figure to them, but these ones are holding massive shields on their arms, and you can make out there's some sort of symbolism on it. You can't quite make out exactly what it is in the dim light.
Similar size and stature, just different.
Same
composition.
size.
Are we still underwater?
You are.
How far down did we come initially from the boat to the ruin?
I was about 100 feet to the floor.
Okay, and I guess we kind of came down. Okay. I
You've
thought
been
we might have been
moving
coming close to cresting the water surface again.
How much time
No,
has
I
passed
think we are.
since we came down?
probably a couple hours by this point.
I mean,
Dinar, you can give me a perception check. if you
Sure.
want.
water breathing's
check.
24 hours duration, right? So
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I thought
yeah,
it was,
we're-
I thought it
we're
was
fine.
less for some
Yeah, I'm
reason.
not concerned
Well, you
about
got
that.
lots of-
Yeah. That's a 5 plus my perception of 1, 6.
Okay. You kind of have that quick instinct to look and be like, water pockets, but you're not certain. You can't really see anything in the moment.
On the upside, we've now confirmed that there's a dwarven ruin. Job's done. Let's head back to the ship.
but what about the treasure?
Treasure. All right, so I will gesture, statue here, statue there, and a door there.
Quick message to Dinar. So I figure we take a look around, see if it's worthwhile, and if we're and go from there.
Orc will move towards where Talon pointed out. Or sorry, where Flick pointed out the door.
Awesome.
Cautiously.
I'm going to take a moment to point out and plug Roll20's new dynamic colored lights feature,
It is very snazzy.
which is
Okay.
awesome. So the effects on this map are brought to you by new dynamic lighting feature on Roll20. Not sponsored. I just think it's awesome.
Okay,
I'm going the
I
right
wasn't sure if that was just
way,
on the
right?
map or not.
I can do it on my map, but I can also do it now in Roll20, in which you can actually then change dynamically, hence dynamic lighting. So
Nice.
very cool.
I'm going the right way, right?
Yeah, there was
Crazy?
one over there, yeah.
Yeah.
the
Roll20,
door
please
is kinda
sponsor us.
here-ish.
Okay.
Sorry, was this way to the statue or the door? I'd be heading to where Flick pointed to the door.
Oh, the
Door
door
versus-
was over here.
Door
Yeah.
is more central. Yeah.
Oh, so like so?
Statues were sort of here and here. The door was here.
Ah, okay. Sorry, I had to zoom out so I could see. The
We
pace.
have no way of lighting this thing, do we?
No, just my scales.
All right, Torque will wait in this patch then for Dinar to catch up.
Yeah, Dinar basically is the light source at this point.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured.
It's not a great light source, which is why I'm considering
Yeah.
taking up the light spell.
Flick has
Dancing
a little
lights would be better.
Yeah.
Flick can see a little bit beyond. Like he can see more, kind of the grays and the dims beyond the patches of light. And Dinar, but
Now that I've gotten into the room, I can start seeing stuff around corners and stuff. There's a statue here. There's definitely a statue here. I'm seeing a brighter light source here.
Yeah.
looking at it, you can see that it is that same growth, the lichen or whatever, the bioluminescence. That's just
And then
So
a big
all
ass
these-
door right there.
yeah. So where all the light that you see, the only light that that is anywhere around here is coming from those growths. Otherwise, there's no light.
Wonder if these expeditions normally carry like a drift globe or something with them.
I imagine. Yeah.
This would this would actually be a really creepy thing to do, like pitch dark waters in the middle of a dwarven ruin. Like, holy cow,
Yeah, nope.
that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Very claustrophobic.
deep underwater, like
Yeah.
far from the surface.
Yeah, this is terrifying. Luckily, Talon feels at home in water.
Yeah, we've got one ajar door, one wide open door.
So as you approach these doors now, and Flick kind of looking in, you can start to make out what appear to be massive pillars, and it seems to be some sort of wide, long, like a hallway, entry chamber, grand chamber kind of idea. The pillars are massive and intricately carved. On either side of them, you can see presumably what would be braziers that would, not underwater, would be lit, but are currently not. And again, against some of these pillars, just a few of them, there's these patches of glowing light.
I don't suppose we could gather up some of this lichen onto like the end of a stick and make like a, like a torch, quote unquote.
Well, Dinar tried to.
Yeah, it went out
and
as soon
went
as
out,
you.
yeah.
Right. Yes.
I mean, I only tried the blue stuff, but I'd assume the rest.
I would imagine it's
likely reacted in a similar way.
Try the blue stuff. It's.
I mean,
You
I
have
got
to
a
get
bag of glow
have to
sticks.
get the fuchsia stuff specifically, only fuchsia.
I don't know, my
If there's
bag.
any
of glow
deviation, it's not going to work.
Try the blue stuff. It's delicious. Don't believe me. Ask the fishes.
I'd give you inspiration if you didn't already have it.
Very nice.
I gave Jack inspiration for our episode title forthcoming, which if you're watching this VOD, you'll know what it is,
That's true.
and it's glorious.
So Talon's going to point over at the big area over there that's well lit with the two big statues.
Mm-hmm.
That looks important.
There's definitely
Yeah.
interesting glows coming from that way. And,
Another puzzle, no doubt.
I believe, who can see this? I think.
Go check it out,
Most
Flick.
of you kind of come in and move. You do see what appears to be some sort of museum room, treasure room,
Treasure!
large slabs of
Ooh,
stone with
I see this thing.
various items laying.
I see that thing. I see a thing.
How
flail
intact? How intact are these items after spending a few, centuries underwater?
Well, if they're magic.
You'd have to get a little bit closer to see, but the entrance to this room has just crumbled and.
All right. Because everyone else is looking a little bit beat up, Torque will take the initiative on the approach here.
As we pass by these statues, I'm assuming they're dwarves.
Yep. So they are all identical. They are all dwarves, holding a shield. It's like a kite-shaped shield, and in the center of each shield is that crystal
Sort of
symbol,
a starburst
the crystal crest.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this is obviously now stupid question, but they appear to be of similar make to the ones in the tunnel.
They are solid stone. None of them have reacted or done anything. You don't have detect magic up right now, though, right?
No, I'm looking specifically at their artistry. Like, do they look like a similar hand was behind the creation?
Give me a history check.
Okay. I believe that's a 15. Yeah, 15.
I mean, it's not like looking and be like, oh, that's Michelangelo's work, or that's
Right.
Da Vinci's. But they would have been crafted at the same time, and definitely all by the same clan. Like they're uniform, they fit. So the ones at the archway, the entry, would match with these ones as far as the specific designs and the runic symbols, etc. Like it's the same period of Dwarven architecture.
Okay.
So this
Put it that
table
way.
here to the south of Torque, is there anything of note on that one?
The one directly that you're standing by, there is nothing there.
Okay.
So as you enter in the room now proper, there are several items that you see that have a glow to them, actually, giving off obvious magical energies. There is a shield, what appears to be a small axe, like a hand axe, a sword, a suit of armor with a great axe, like a long pole axe kind of thing with it, and a massive maul, two-handed, big, heavy hammer.
I wonder who that's meant for.
This feels too easy.
Each seem to be giving off their own individual glow. Not a pulsing glow. These ones are just ambient light coming from them.
Oh, boy.
Shield. Does the shield look better than my shield? Yes, it does.
Give me a perception check.
Perception.
Or investigation, if you're doing a like close.
My perception's better. But it didn't roll better. Big old 9. It's shiny.
Yeah, that's kind of distracting you. The shininess of it. It's well crafted for sure. You have no idea what it's made out of. It doesn't look like any shield that you've ever seen.
Ding ding. Like at least it's metal, right? Like some kind of. This to throw me off now.
When you're doing this to it, you're giving it a little bit of a.
Yeah.
In the water, kind of carries louder than it normally would. It's almost like a harmonic ting to it. Not the what you'd expect when you hit natural metal or like worked metal. It's something different.
That's good enough for me.
All right, Dinar is going to, in the center of the room, sit down, cross-legged, start laying out his ritual components, and take a look around at anybody, or at everybody, and kind of shrug his shoulders.
Torque will just fold his arms and wait. He's not going to touch anything until Dinar has had time to detect magic.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm already like got this thing up and like, can I resize this for me? Yeah, obviously I can. So while he's spending 10 minutes doing that, I'm spending 10 minutes unstrapping my shield and strapping this one on.
Oh my god.
Okay. Noted.
Oh, that's
He's
awesome.
too quick. He's too quick. He's too quick for me.
See, we thought the Talon was the problem with the treasure. So it was the goblin.
Look, if it was gold, I'd be on it already. Magic relics? Okay, no, we're gonna hold up on that.
Flick, as you pick up the shield,
Yeah.
first thing you realize, even in water, which naturally makes things lighter and more buoyant, it is like feather light. There's no weight to this thing at all. You pick it up, it's like, oh. And it's not very thick, maybe 1.5 to 2 inches, but it is solid. It feels really solid. And you pick it up and kind of look behind it for where the the bracing part is. There isn't any. There's no loops, there's no bands, there's no straps. There's nothing there.
Damn, I want a sword made out of that stuff.
But as you kind of play with it a little bit, and then you kind of like put your arm like up to it, 2 bands just almost like grow out of it and loop under your arm and just kind of sit comfortably.
Oh.
And the shield immediately kind of
Grow?
shrinks to be more your size to fit.
Now try to take it off.
Yeah, that's just got a curse of binding on it.
Why
Does
would I ever
the
take
straps
it off?
also grow teeth and dig in?
You realize as you're wearing it that all you need to do is think it off. And your mental command makes it go and unlatch, and they kind of
And
become
sort
part
of-
of the shield.
I think there's just like a moment of panic where he's like, take it off. Put it back on?
Flick is now Captain America.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. Try chucking it and say return.
What do you mean now? I've always been. This is America's goblin ass right here.
Oh man.
Oh.
You're not exactly sure what its properties are beyond that, but it does seem to react and automatically attach, and you can just think it off, and it does size.
This is already better than my wooden piece. I
To
basically
fit
had a big chunk of wood on my arm. This is 10 times better already.
It's been like partially dissolved by like zombie acid and,
Oh,
and all these other things.
You realize now it's probably an ogre cutting board with straps on it, but you know, it was,
So at the moment, you just have a +2 shield.
Whoa.
I mean,
Okay.
Because he needs
Beyond
a
that,
higher
you're not
AC.
you're not
All
entirely
right.
sure.
Just
What it
gonna
does.
wait for Dinar.
Yep.
Dinar, your 10 minutes pass, and you kind of open your eyes. I almost like to think of it like when you have to take magic on, like your eyes kind of like change a different color, or whatever, because you're like seeing in a different spectrum.
Yeah.
Right. You're seeing the spectrum of the arcane.
His little like reptilian slit pupils just dilate.
Yeah. And you kind of open your eyes, and immediately you're like, "Whoa!" You already saw the glow from them, but now you can see the magical essence of each of these items, and I mean, they are obviously magic. And frustratingly, you don't know what type of magic is on each of them. There's something. Again, it's like something almost blocking it, or something, about the items that's you can't tell. They're powerful,
But
It's
they're not
weird.
a specific school of magic that I'm either familiar with or that I can detect.
It's not
Or
that you're
maybe
not.
they're-
It's not that you're not familiar with it. You can't tell.
Okay.
Maybe
There's-
they're like all different schools and the colors are just running together because they're so close.
There's just like it's. Give me an Arcana check with advantage. I'll say, because you
Sure.
have your spell up.
That's 12 or 7, so 12 plus 7, 19.
19. Okay. So at first you think, okay, there's some sort of masking effect going on here, possibly similar to the archway. The same idea that there's something that's kind of hiding the magic up, but you can see the magic, so it's not quite that. And you kind of quickly flip through the index in your mind of the different schools of magic. This doesn't fit any of them. But there's something.
That's not worrying.
There's something about the residual energy kind of coming off of these that almost instinctively makes you reach down in your pouch and pull out the crystal. Whatever magic has been infused into these is from no school that you've ever seen or heard of, and is connected to these crystals somehow.
So, with that in mind, Dinar, not knowing, obviously because he's not Jorund, is going to make the mental assumption that this must be Ataxian magic. Or at the very least, this must be magic wielding from the Chaos Weave. He doesn't share that information with the group, but he's making that mental note that
I mean, it's going to go right over our heads anyway, so.
that must be what's going on here. And Dinar obviously has no idea what the Ataxian magic properties would be or what they're capable of.
+2 armor class for a start.
Well, yeah.
Oh my god, Flick's armor is 21.
Yeah. So, well, it was your shield +1?
nope, I had a regular old piece of wood.
Wow.
What you do know, Dinar, as part of the Arcanum Accord, which is taught in every school of magic learning, upheld by nearly every kingdom, every institution globally. I guess not globally, because it's a flat world, but
Fiscally.
yes, it's not even a disc, rectangularly. But anyways, so you would have been taught the Arcanum Accord, which every magic initiate is required to study and understand. Chaos magic, anything to do with the Chaos Weave, Ataxian, as a source of magic, is strictly forbidden and outlawed everywhere. There's nowhere that it is practiced openly and legally. And yet, here is a Dwarven kingdom which seems to somehow be harvesting crystals that are tied to Ataxian fracture.
Does Dinar know if the reason, or not the reason, sorry, does Dinar know if there is a time period where the ban on Ataxian magic began? Like, for instance, he's thinking, could this Dwarven ruin predate the ban of Ataxian magic?
Give me a history check for that.
Okay.
See how well you studied.
That's so 15 total.
15 total. Okay.
Yeah.
You're trying to remember your notes, like trying to remember what you read about. I can't remember the exact date, but it predates this era. So pre-deluge.
Oh. Okay.
So it goes
then,
back
okay.
at least second era, which is like the era kind of before. If this kingdom is older than that, it's hard to say. But so the Arcanum Accord is not something new. It's been around for. It was actually recovered from the Grand Library in Segurina, which is close to your home of Jakor. And that's why they still know it exists, and it's been around since long before the deluge occurred. So it's old. It's a long-standing binding agreement.
All right. At that realization, Dinar will use a message spell towards Flick. Maybe stop touching all the stuff.
Yeah, but this one's great.
It looks fantastic, yes.
I mean,
It is very possible that the school of magic being used on these items is not legal. And not in the slap on the wrist, don't do it again kind of thing. Like banned in the Arcanum Accords.
do I have any clue what an Arcanum Accord is?
I'd say, given your background, no.
Yeah.
You found a spell book.
Yeah.
You have no idea what the Arcanum Accord is.
I mean, I've read a little bit of the fine print at the bottom, some of the pages that mention this crap, but not seeing a big issue. Shiny shield attaches to my arm automatically. Kind of like it.
So it was a shield, a hand axe, a sword, some kind of pole arm, a suit of armor, and a hammer.
Yeah.
And just for the record, all of it is pinging my magic detection?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tayland, you probably would be perhaps not as familiar with the Arcanum Accord as Dinar, but it definitely would have been at least a cursory point of study.
Yeah, I probably
And
have a passing knowledge. I know what it is.
Because it is something that is binding for not only arcane but divine.
Oh, okay, then yes, it definitely would have been.
Like all schools, all institutions of any kind of magic practice.
Just to be clear, the Arcanum Accords, that's not the thing that says druids are not supposed to wear metal, right? That's just a druid thing?
That's just a druid.
Yeah, because I'm flying in the face of that intentionally. Okay.
Yeah. The Arcanum Accord specifically was created to handle the existence and use of chaos weave as a source of magic.
Is it specifically for that, or is it also like other rules that spellcasters are supposed to follow, like necromancy and things like that?
It does, yeah. It bans necromancy.
Okay.
Like, kind of the standard stuff that you would expect.
Sure. Okay. No magic missiles in public.
Would Torque know what Disfuna thinks of Ataxian magic?
You could give me a religion check.
Yeah, is this like something that even the gods don't want people to mess about with?
You could also give me a religion check.
It's the magic of the gods.
14.
14. Taylor, are you doing as well?
Sure. Yeah, I guess I would potentially know this.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I probably don't.
You're not sure.
Yeah. I didn't pay attention to that particular lesson.
Given the natural vibe of chaos magic and what it represents, Torque, it's not like you've had a conversation with this Funa about this kind of thing.
Yeah, like what would I infer, I guess?
But your natural understanding of her, you get the impression that she wouldn't be comfortable with this magic either, that it's not really it's sort of a taboo thing, even in certain divine circles, that it's like, we don't really like to touch that stuff too much. Not explicitly forbidden necessarily, but
yeah, but just
yeah, it's like
frowned upon,
cautioned against, at least.
This place is cursed.
On the upside, magic
this
shield.
is harrowing.
Nara's weighing in his head if it makes more sense to leave this stuff here and try to hide it, or bring it to the attention of the people who are looking for the room.
If we leave it here and go report back, then Shipboon is just going to send more people to come here.
Well, that was my question. Where does the Arcanum stand on like archaeological finds like this? Like, do you have to? I'm assuming there's some kind of like top men kind of situation.
The court doesn't deal with anything like that. That kind of stuff falls more to individual kingdoms and laws and that kind of thing.
Oh, does it?
The accord is very specifically written as only to do with the use of magic, the creation of it does talk about the creation of
creation and use, but storing possession is fine. You just can't create or use it. Depending on so it doesn't specify possession. That would be regulated to local laws.
Yeah,
got it.
To legalize it.
Does anyone happen to know the local laws around possession of these items?
Well,
we're in a pirate kingdom.
Yeah,
on an island for 10 years.
So Denara's going to send
general rule of Porta de Arias in the Pirate Kingdom is finders keepers. I mean, that tends to kind of be
that's kind of what I was figuring. They're going to have no problem taking this stuff. The question is, how much do they care about the Arcanum?
Well,
and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think we should get the J-Man involved.
Well, yeah.
Jesus.
Not that J-Man. Denara's going to send a message directly to Talon.
Okay.
So, this is what Shipboon was looking for, right? They want this specifically.
I think that's a safe bet. They have to know something like this is down here.
I know that you've been traveling with Captain Boone for a while. I don't know enough about him or his family to know if those are trustworthy hands to put this stuff in. This is illegal.
I wouldn't trust these in anyone's hands, including Flick, by the way.
I see you two talking, and I'm just
Shield on, shield off. Shield on, shield off.
And I can't believe this is coming from me, but I think we may have to rely on a wizard friend of ours. Well, I say friend, a wizard acquaintance of ours at this point, because I don't know about you, I don't want anyone with any semblance of political power even having access to this stuff.
So, do we bring these to him? Here's. Do we bring these? Do we try to smuggle these to the wizard in hopes that he'll know either how to destroy or hide, hoping that he is not tempted to use this magic? Or do we try to hide this and make this ruin well, no, they're going to find it either way.
Dinar.
Torque, being completely oblivious to this conversation because he's not in the message loop, is going to pick up the maul and try to break it over his knee.
Well, what are we waiting for?
You're trying to break the maul over your knee?
Yeah, just to, see what the tensile strength of these magic items is.
Like you're doing like a down, or you're just doing like a bending?
Like a...
So while Torque is
it's a
breaking his
magic
leg.
item, so above game I don't expect this to do anything. Because magic items can't be destroyed, I think, except by super specific means.
It depends on the item.
Give me a strength check.
Followed by a constitution save.
Just flat strength?
Yeah, just straight strength.
Okay. I'm
Oh,
a little tired from the statue.
Which is probably good. Because as you slam this thing down, even with your full strength, it's gonna hit your knee, you're like, ow. It doesn't budge at all. There's no bend or move or anything. You're like, that hurt a little bit. Just
even if
tiniest little bit. You're like, if I had done that full strength, I probably would have busted a kneecap or something.
Yeah, and even if you didn't, I feel like breaking these things is going to release all kinds of weird energy. Dinar, do you remember a certain vision that we were shown, or at least I was shown, that you all happened to participate in? There was a man at the bottom of the ocean unearthing a sword.
I saw that too, right, Craig?
I think we were all present for
You
it.
all saw it, yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Guy in a diving suit.
In the guy in the diving suit, and he was pulling a sword out of the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I know what that sword might have, or at least have an idea.
Well, you think it's with this stuff?
Part of the matching set.
Okay, but I believe from the information we know it definitely wasn't this specific location, because we knew it was up north.
It was north, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm speculating that sword is of similar make to this, because that just makes sense to me.
Well, and at that, Dinar is going to look around at the tables. I can't help but notice there are a few vacant places here.
To be honest, I'm kind of surprised that a lot of this stuff is still on these tables. I'm guessing there's some kind of supernatural aspect to that.
Well, again, part of why maybe I'm concerned that Joran looks at this as some kind of immortality serum. This stuff is likely 1,000 at least years old. I know it's magical, but time wears all. So,
do you think you can trust Joran with this? I don't, but I trust him more than anybody else at this point.
I certainly trust him a lot more than I trust Ship Boone. I would half expect them to see dollar signs in their eyes when they see this and sell it to the highest bidder.
That's my thought exactly.
But the wizard is old, long beyond his years.
He can't leave his tower. What's he going to do with you, right?
Well, what if he's able to do something with this that allows him...
I'm all for an optimal solution. If you want to bring this place down, but if it's as durable as that archway was, I don't know if that's really an option. It survived collapsing into the ocean.
And that's either way, I feel like somebody's gonna find this. We just happen to be the ones that found it first. Well,
As far as
maybe
we know.
first. Yeah. That wall's busted in. I see empty shelves.
Yeah.
This might just be the stuff that's least valuable.
We should probably investigate that busted in wall at some point before we leave, but yeah, this is I'm very uncomfortable with all of this, and I agree with everything you're saying.
I think as a baseline, and you can feel free to argue, we need to take this stuff. I mean,
Keep
right
it-
now, I don't know that
keep it in
we're
the
getting that
ship.
thing off a flick. Yeah.
I mean,
So-
you see me bearing down and about to charge.
I mean,
Torque is going to look over at you guys and like raise a hand, like sort of ask to be
I kind of
moved
wonder
in.
about the legal ramifications of a shield made out of this stuff, because technically, if you just have it on you, that's possession.
Yeah, the magic's been cast already.
So what is it? If you bring it up to defend yourself, that's considered illegal? I don't know. I don't know where the that's for a lawyer to figure out, I
Yeah,
guess.
is it illegal to wear a bulletproof vest everywhere you go?
Yeah, I don't know.
Torque is going to look over, and I think he can kind of tell that Dinar and Talon are having like a psychic conversation.
Well, I mean,
because
we're
of the
like
amount-
this for
like,
a while,
the amount of
yeah.
eye contact going on. He's going to like raise his hand and ask to be looped in.
So, Torque,
We're gonna set up a triangle of communication.
Broken cantrip.
Torque,
My understanding is we can't leave these here because they will be found. And we can't give them to anyone because no one can be trusted with them.
That's about the gist of it, and I don't think we can afford to leave it here without it
What's
being
he
found by
saying?
somebody else. Torque is suggesting that we need to take these as well.
I have a thought, Captain.
All
In our
ears.
possession right now, we have a map with one spot marked where these ruins are, and 5 or 6 spots marked where these ruins aren't. Suppose we take everything in this room and dump it all at the bottom of the sea in one of those locations that we've specifically marked as being empty.
Hot damn. That's brilliant.
Or suppose we take it to that dark creature that was spying on us.
So I had that idea too, but I don't want to know what happens. You want to give weapons to that thing?
I don't think it's going to see it as weapons.
I think
Though it might also see it as an offering, and then we're in bed with it.
That's what I mean.
Finding it in a different location might be better.
out of all the places, I think burying it in the shallows by the bones we found would be our best bet, on the incredibly slim chance that for whatever reason we need to recover these later. It would be best to do so where there's a recognizable landmark and fairly easy access.
This all seems very sensible.
All right.
I've got a +1 intelligence.
I'm sure it will absolutely not backfire in any way whatsoever.
All right. Flick is feeling tired of being left out of the loop of this. He sees you guys are all, and he's like, okay, can you loop me in here?
I'll just shoot him one. Put the shield back, Flick.
Somehow I knew this was coming to that. So I do want to point out to the collective here that we do have access to a volcano.
Yeah.
Like if you're really bent and determined on destroying the crap,
My point on that is, we don't know if this is above board. We don't know, and this may be something Dinar could come up with. We don't know what happens if you throw these things into a volcano. They could explode, like a big explosion.
yeah.
We don't know.
You know
So-
who I might trust with this stuff?
Me?
Our kobold friends. What are they going to do?
Yeah. Again, I don't know if I trust them as much as you do, but it's also an option.
The thing is, this is going to take...
anybody as much as
My concern is that we don't know what these weapons are capable of.
Not yet, at least, no.
What we need to do
my
is
only concern
get
is
to know
that
some books.
I don't want them to accidentally hurt themselves.
That's fair. Yeah, we could just tell them that they are very dangerous.
We could do both plans. We could take them from here, bury them somewhere, research the things, and then this is getting out of control. But research the things, and then if we figure they're okay, we can go either destroy them or give them to them,
Or keep them.
or keep them in the ship. I'm leaving it in the captain's. You know what? Yeah, we'll defer to captain.
Yeah, this is why Torque suggested burying them, because he is, for the last 10 years, he has been a follower of Deshuna, and he sort of takes her considerations in mind in everything he does. But for a much longer time before that, he was also a pirate. And the pragmatic part of him is thinking that, when the rubber hits the road,
treasure.
if things go bad, it would just be nice to have a bunch of powerful magic items in, our back pocket, just in case we might actually need them.
I'm okay. Honestly, I'm okay with that. Talon does not have a problem using these things. He just doesn't want to get arrested.
That is... Dinar is struggling. We're as somebody who is all about the law, but also knowing that at some point we're going to be fighting what we assume to be a god.
Exactly.
Kind of think we might need some heavy hitters. So Dinar's going to send one last message to the whole group.
Ping, ping,
One by one,
Ping,
yeah.
ping. We don't even know how far into this ruin we've searched. There might be other rooms like this with items such as this. Maybe we need to take a quick look around, and then on our way out, grab this stuff. At the very least, take it back to the ship, and when we don't have to do this, talk about what we're going to do with the stuff.
That's a better idea.
Yeah.
It's hard to have a conversation where you're having two people and then two people and then two. Yeah, that's a mess.
I'll just see somebody walking into this conversation. You're all just like,
yeah. It's you're running into a situation of Gartic phone at this point, and it's
Hold on, let me transfer your call.
yeah.
I assume this is what life was like before group chats. Just Dinar's the operator at the switchboard.
Sorry. Can we all just? He just said, "I assume this is what life was like before group chats." Can we all just take that in for a second?
Oh, yeah. Jack, you're making us all feel so old.
Listen, I didn't get my first phone until I was I think 16. So
neither did I.
It didn't exist when I was 16, man. Anyway,
I helped develop the first phone. Does that help?
Hey.
yes.
Special guest Alexander Graham Bell.
That's right.
I'm talking more wireless.
Let's press on.
All right. At that, Dinar is just going to start making his way towards.
Yeah, I think exploring the rest of this place is the way to go.
Towards the door.
With heavy heart, I wave farewell to my special shield.
On our way through, Dinar would like to take a look at the opening and see if it looks like it's been smashed in, or if this is a cave-in from time.
I would also like to do that.
All right. So stepping back out into the kind of main hall.
I need you all to roll initiative.
Two things. Flick.
Uh-oh.
Oh boy.
You look down on your arm.
Oh God.
And the shield is there.
Curse of binding.
I mean,
you know you put it down. You're 100% sure you put it down. It's on your arm.
No, boy, it's okay. I'll come back for you. I promise. Now go back. You gotta go, boy. Off.
It loosens.
He's gonna airbud the shield.
Just keep it in your line of sight. Just back away. Just keep an eye on it.
You gotta Charizard that shield.
What are you doing with it?
I'll put it back on the table and back away. It's like, all right, now you stay. Good boy.
You get to about 15 feet away, and you're looking, and it's just one of those things like you don't remember it disappearing from the table.
It's like a blink.
But it's but it's just on your arm. It's just there.
Torque's not holding them all, is he?
Oh.
Did you pick them all up?
He did. Well, yeah, you tried to smash
break it
it.
on my knee, and then I put it back down when it didn't work.
No, King. No, it's
Oh.
I'm gonna.
Okay.
I'll
That
send
would
a
be much harder to.
Yeah, I'll send a message to Flick. Stop screwing around. Let's go. Leave it.
I mean, I'm telling it to go and it won't leave me. It's imprinted on me or something, man. It's
Oh, great. Message Dinar. Dinar, we got a problem.
I
While
mean,
this
it's not a
is
big
happening,
problem. It's
while
a great
this-
shield.
you hear in the water
Jeez.
from the far end of the chamber, beyond what you can see,
Uh-huh.
the sound of sounds like stone doors opening
Oh, no.
and piercing through
Mm.
black, far, far beyond. You see two large eyes just kind of glowing as something massive just starts to shake the ground and stomp in your direction.
Which way is it approaching from, north or south?
From way down there.
Copper wire
Okay.
the tail
We're
end.
gonna end.
No!
Yeah.
Torque is going to try and position himself in front of the other three.
And that's
Oh,
what we'll pick it
jeez.
up.
Yeah. Flick, you had to be a little a goblin gremlin.
I mean,
You had to be a goblin.
You just had to be a
racist,
goblin.
Oh, man.
I love it. I was like, as soon as you pick, like, Flick's just like, wow, this is happening. I just pick up the shield. I'm like,
Hey, you know, on the
moment as a DM, we're like, inside, you're just like, oh man.
on the
So much I wanna
plus
say.
side, we can throw Flick at whatever this is, and he won't die.
I'm really hard to hit now.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
Assuming there's no other adverse effects.
Yeah, well, you know, we'll get to them.
+2 to AC, but vulnerability to everything.
All right.
I mean, at this point, I think Dinar's going to run back in there and grab the two weapons.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
I have a way
So-
to get them out of there when we get to that point, but yeah.
As we wait to see whatever is approaching out of the darkness and what lies further in within these ancient dwarven ruins, we'll see you next time. Hope you can join us. Thanks for hanging out with us, and as we play
Boy.
some D&D and go on tangents and just do other stuff.
Come up with 30 plans and then do none of them.
In
That is
classic
that's
D&D
That's-
fashion, yes.
I'm pretty sure that's like page 1 in the player's handbook. Here's how to play properly.
Yes.
By wasting time. So it's all part of it. But anyways, thank you for hanging out with us again. If you haven't followed us on Twitch especially, and on all the other things you can find at our link tree above, please do so. Please tell everybody to check us out so that we can bring our entertainment to more people. And we hope that you are entertained, and we will see you next time. Bye, everybody.